Hello and welcome to session 14, I believe, of We Need a Plan. I think it's 14. I can't remember, I'll be honest. Hey, Brew. We play D&D and we play Curse of Strahd right now. And like I said, we're on session 14. We are playing a day earlier than usual. So sorry if you missed this and are watching it on YouTube. But yeah, we're ready to just jump right in, I think. We are down an Elliot for the next few weeks. He's sort of off for personal reasons. We haven't, fallen out with him or anything. We still love him very much. But he's going to be away for a few weeks, so I'm going to try and find a way to sort of potentially shoehorn Trundle out the story for a little while. We'll see. I mean, mild spoilers, but it's sort of the standard thing to do. But he's going to be away for a few weeks. But we look forward to having him back come around March time. But we'll let you know more as and when it sort of things happen. But in the meantime, like I said, we're just going to dive right into the game, which begins with a recap. And I think the recap was quite grindy, but you made it out at the end, where you ended up resting for the night, getting a bit more information off the Martikov family that reside in the Wizard of Wine's winery. You spoke to Elvir, the sort of patriarch of the family, who gave you a bit more information about these sort of magical seeds, about the size of pine cones, is what he described it as. And they sort of have a greenish energy coming off of them. And in recent times, over the last 10 years, one was taken about 10 years ago. And in recent memory, in the last month, the remaining two that they had have been taken. One of which he knows has been, or suspects, has been taken by an individual by the name of Babalisaga. He's kind of seemed a bit not necessarily apprehensive about explaining who she was, but he sort of pointed you in the direction of a ruins down sort of south of Vallaki, southwest of Vallaki, where he said that you would be able to find the ruins which she supposedly lurks in and sort of grows and creates these weird sort of scarecrow constructions. That's effectively what he's described. In addition, much more recently, in the last 5 days, and in fact, in the last couple of days, just before you arrived, the Druids down in Yester Hill to the south of here, or south of the winery, were attacking and did indeed attack and assault and overtake the winery from the Martikovs, who had to flee. And in the same kind of period of time, the third and final gem that was giving life to these fields, these grapes, was taken. And although the grapes that are out there are still alive, from his description, this is pretty serious, and it's probably unlikely they're going to grow again without the aid of these gems, these seeds. So you took it upon yourselves to take a rest, have a couple of visions, a couple of dreams, nightmares, usually nightmares. Waking up in the morning and setting off south, as the idea of seeds definitely excited Gaza slightly, and I think the rest of the party were also all for helping these guys out, as it's relatively nearby. This thing was taken relatively recently, and you just fought a lot of them off. So maybe you were a little bit on your riding a high. You just leveled to 5 as well. Maybe that's part of it. But you went charging down to the south into this weird structure, weird hilltop with several concentric stone ring circles surrounding it. A very large area. Lots of these like piles of rocks surrounding in almost like a strange pattern. But you made your way into the central area of this, at the top of this hill, whereby there was a large statue or large effigy of Strahd, sort of made of wood, mud, earth, just all packed together closely and sort of stood up there for all to see. And as you were standing around, Trundle heard a voice in his head that drew him to the west, and unfortunately, due to, I think it was a bad Duck of Lice roll, stepped in a shallow pseudo grave, out of which popped a barbarian who sort of yelled, got the attention of a lot of other berserkers and druids in the area, and threw you into a battle that was pretty tough. A pretty nail-biting fight for all of you. Zadie went down once. There there was points at which people were, I think everyone in the party was at, I think, 11 hit points or lower. And it was really, knife edge, but you managed to escape thanks to Rain starting to run and everyone else realizing, hey, that's not a bad idea. You all made your way and managed to get out of there, with the exception, with the single sole exception of Irina, who was left on 1 hit point. And as you started to run, you sort of heard her screams, you heard her fall silent, and as you made your way around this stone structure and just barreled out of the area, you heard a sickening crack and a burst of sort of powerful energy as a huge, from this sort of effigy of Strahd, this huge, just absolutely enormous, sort of deformed tree-like structure burst its way out of the center of this effigy, so still caked in some of the mud. But the two distinct features was, one, it's fucking huge and quite scary looking, and two, it had a glowing green sort of center, almost a heart, that you could kind of see even off in the distance as the thunder was slamming down, and you made your way around the edge of this stone thing away from Yester Hill, and with this sort of, this thought that Trundle had shared with you of this voice that spoke to him, sort of lingering there. But as you made your way away, you did make it away. You were on foot, barreling away from this place, and that is where we will pick up. So as you move away from the stormy dark clouds surrounding this hilltop, although there was no rainfall, there was a lot of thunder, a lot of action, a lot of powerful energy. Sort of, you could feel it in the air. It had that sort of staticky tingle, made worse by the fact that pretty much all of you were hit by thunder waves at some point or other. So all of you are pretty badly hurt, badly burnt. But you're the energy you have as heroes is beyond that of a normal human, normal mortal, and you've started just running, and after about half a mile of running down this road where the fog is relatively clear and the skies start to open up into the morning effectively that you're still in, you find a point where you look around, there doesn't seem to be anything following you, and you're able to take a quick breather as you all sort of gather around the remaining 5 of you, as you sort of stop and realize, after the adrenaline starts to wear off, that you are in a lot of pain. And as you look around again, Irina's not with you. At least some of you would have seen this. And the interesting thing is, you see Trundle sort of heaved over, but all you can hear is just the rushing of air from his nostrils, as unable to breathe through his mouth. Is sort of more laboured under this sort of cardio, effectively, that he's had to do as you run down the road, run down the pathway through the woods, and you find yourself standing there again. The air sort of cold, but your skin, all of your skin's hot and dripping with sweat. Even Rhea has sort of the wind whipping around her, and her more mobile means still tired by this sort of pure exertion on effectively adrenaline. So as you stand there, the air is quiet. What would you like to do?
Ain't no sense in us going back there now.
What? No. Well, not now, no, but... Are we all here? No?
You hear a voice just echo in your head and just says, Irina. She was swarmed. There was no saving her. And you see again Trundle sort of gathering his breath, but just leaning there, just eyes burning. You see his form has at this point sort of just shifted back, but for the whole duration of his running he was in his hybrid form, the fur still kind of receding through his skin.
Then we have to go back. Not now. Maybe now. I mean, if they're... We can't go.
We can't go back right this second, because I am exhausted, and I think you are too. Maybe if we have the chance to get a breather, we can go back then and maybe catch them before they've had too much of a breather themselves.
Whatever we do, I think it's best we get back to the winery initially. Waiting here might only attract them further out. It's only a 30-minute hour walk away. The wine.
Yeah, I mean, you're still a little bit disoriented, and this isn't like a well-established path, so it's not like, oh, we're at this crossroads just yet. But yeah, from your memory, I mean, you can sort of measure it on the map. I mean, it's like if you were to cut across the field, which isn't the easiest thing to do, but if you were to cut across the field, you could be there in maybe half an hour, at a relatively quick pace. And especially because you've already run like half a mile in a matter of like, maybe 5 minutes, not even in full plate and everything. So you've just sprinted away from this place.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we shouldn't stay on the road for too long.
That was very accurate.
I feel like I was somewhat made to roleplay Trundle. It's great. But
Let's go. We'll talk more back there.
Right.
you all start to make your way, and with no disturbances. Are you heading along the path, cutting through? What are you doing in terms of, because there's a point at which you get to where it opens up sort of to the west, and you can see through that sort of break in the trees. It's a bit kind of earthy, muddy ground, like less well trodden or not at all trodden than this sort of thin pathway that's led up and down from Yester Hill up towards the winery. But there is a sort of fork off, you splitting through or just following the path, cutting back across as you would normally.
I think the regular path would be best.
Yeah.
Stops any.
Play it safe, yeah.
Sure. And again, it doesn't take you too long. You sort of get to the crossroads. Again, it's unmarked, but you can see quite clearly on your side as you're walking up along this sort of relatively old, slightly cracked paint, sort of white fence that runs along the eastern side of the winery. That you get to the point at which it sort of opens up, and you just follow that up, and within another 10 minutes or so, as you see the house come into view in amongst all the vines, you make your way back down to the front of the house, or I say the front of the house, the way in which the path enters the house next to the stables. And although you don't see any of the Martikovs out, the horses have been hitched to the wagon in preparation for heading up towards Kresik. But they seem to have been fed, and you see sort of a trough of water has been dragged out in front of them as they kind of look there, absentmindedly. They're horses. But as you sort of come back, the door that you would have entered into this place from is you see it's still busted open as it was from behind the carts, and from within there you sort of see one of the Martikovs. This would be I'll say this will be Dag, I suppose, as he seems to be trying to work on the door a little bit. The hinges are still busted, and the front of the door's been splintered open from where the Druids broke in before you even got there. But he seems to be kind of working on it and figuring out what he's going to do with it, whether or not to replace the door. As he sees you all coming, just sort of looks up across at you, sort of calls out, goes, "Elvir, they're back!" And you hear and he starts to sort of come out and sort of beckon you all to come in. And leads you all into that central, wine room, where the 4 giant casks are. And Elvir makes his way down from the spiral staircase in the barrel room to where you are now. Sort of looks up across at all of you. It seems like you've had it rough. Where is he sort of looks across at all of you. You have the gem.
No.
We will mourn that later. Your friend is... I'm sorry. Here. He sort of, you see him whisper something to Dag, and Dag sort of heads off and comes back down into this area as he sort of stands there and talks to you with some wine, cups that are just sort of passed out to you. Elvir takes one as well. So what happened?
Fucking druids and big guys with axes as well.
If I had known.
They got the drop on us. They're a greater number than we expected, and they certainly hit harder.
And as much as it pains me to admit it, they are not stupid. What they lack in humanity, they make up in savagery. And our house was left in ruins, but for the work that you did, so did you at least take some of them down?
A couple.
Some of the big guys, yes.
And it was not all for nothing. But we are still without the gem.
Oh, I know where it is, though.
He sort of eyes you as you say that.
What? Where? You saw it?
I think I did. I think we did. Unfortunately, you or anyone will have a very hard time getting to it.
He sort of looks, apprehensively at you.
What do you mean? Speak clearly, not in tongues.
Sorry, we've a hard one to really explain. During the battle, there were one or two, I think it was just the one actually, Druid was hanging back and chanting something under his breath. We were too busy with the big guys and they fucking spells that make you stop you from moving anywhere. But as we were running off, they had this giant statue, effigy of Strahd in the middle of the clearing, and it split open. This giant, ugly-looking tree thing came out of the ground, and where its heart might have been, if it had been human, there was something green and glowing.
As you say that, there's like a sort of like a moment where his eyes just sort of close slightly, and there's almost like a look of resignation, maybe, sort of runs across his face. Sort of the age lines really showing, and his sunken eyes looking even more sunken as he opens it back up. That is one of the seeds. It was at the heart of this thing.
Yes.
Was
This
it?
very, very big thing.
I feared they would use our magic against us.
You think they send that here?
What was that? Sorry.
You think they would send that here? Or just anywhere to...
I do not know, but it seems their intent to disrupt this as much as possible. They have taken the gems. I know not what else they might want to do here, but I mean, beyond what we have out here and in here, it is unlikely we will have another harvest. So, unless he wants to rub salt into the wound, then I don't know. Maybe. Beyond that, some of this wine, and he gestures to the barrels, and he sort of says this with like venom in his voice. Some of these barrels are poisoned. Those fucking druids. They have spoiled some of the last wine this land may ever see. It is undrinkable. Thankfully, my daughter knows a little bit of herbalism and was able to help me this morning after you left. I drank from it to taste it, and it was very painful, but I'm better now. Still, it is ruined. There's little we can do to change that, and
Suppose that means you're. You said you had maybe a month's worth left of wine to supply.
a month, 2 months, maybe. Calculations
have
are hard
less.
to make.
You have less now. Some of it is poisoned.
He just sort of nods his head grimly.
That may be something I can fix, friend, but
Oh.
it's something that I'll need to rest on.
He looks at you and says, if you can fix it, you would leave us with significantly more than we would otherwise have. So, if you can do it.
Might be able to fix the wine.
If you're
Indeed.
Not now.
Very good.
Maybe tomorrow.
Between the two of you, you could.
You're welcome to stay, if that is your intent, but and we would be extremely grateful if you can fix this.
Again, sir, it will take us a day for preparations at least.
That I
A good
understand.
night's rest.
Yes, like I said, you're welcome to stay, but I mean, it is only the morning now, so.
Speaking of, rain them hand cannons if you are sure a sight to behold when they're in action, but their inaction is also something worthy of question. What exactly happened back there?
Is there like a table nearby?
Yeah, like not necessarily a table. There's like a couple of stools
Yeah.
that come up to maybe waist height. So
All right.
if that's sufficient.
Okay. I toss my primary one onto the stool and just look at it. Just toss it onto there and just look at it.
Yeah, I mean, examining it, this one again, there's not been like any sort of malfunctional explosion, but the bullet that sort of misfired in the gun was slightly sort of misshapen. It's one of those things you're kind of annoyed that you didn't spot it beforehand. But effectively, the metal, as the mechanism spun to fire, the bullet sort of jammed within the mechanism of the barrel mechanism, and it sort of caused a bit of a rupture in the way the metal is formed. But it's something you could repair. And again, I believe you can make a check for it. And if that fails, then you would have to do it over a longer period of time. The pocket pistol is more bent. Again, same deal. I can't remember what the DC is, but
It's two.
for the as in the DC to repair.
DC fix it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
So let's have a quick look whilst we're here. Homebrew content, classes. Oh, it's going to be the old gunslinger, isn't it? No, 1.3 is the correct one. Okay.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, so let's just have a look here. The tools check it's DC equal to 8 plus the misfire score. So for the standard gun, it is a 9.
Yeah.
For the pocket pistol, it's a 10. So again, I'll say, although because you're not in combat, it won't take a long period of time. But we'll say it takes a few minutes whilst you sort of tinker on these on these two guns. And if you'd like to make your 2 checks, as you will see,
I will make.
Rain ladies out, make some
Help with whatever
examinations.
you're doing.
You must. If you must.
And Sadie
Where is it?
places her hand on your shoulder, and you feel this kind of this surge as you're kind of working again. It's a bit distracting at first as the hand sort of just touches you gently, but I mean it's about as good as it can get. And with a guide,
I like those earlier, but you
Yeah.
know.
go ahead and roll
It would have been
roll
great
the
that last session, yeah.
yeah, roll the guidance D4 on the just for the hell of it. No, I mean, as you work away on the 2 weapons, the one for your main gun is very simple to fix. I mean, it could have been a bigger problem if the bullet had made it all the way round and fired and hit the inside of the barrel. But thankfully, again, the gun's not rifled. It sort of happened before the firing explosion propelled the metal into the side of the gun. And so thankfully you were able to sort of just dislodge it, file down some of the metal, and within a couple of minutes your main gun is back and functional. The pocket pistol again requires, you actually need a bit of a bigger space, but Elvir leads you up to the room where the printing press is, and with no paper on the printing press, it's effectively a large metal table. So you're able to start sort of like working on that, use a bit of your sort of the kind of small bits of phosphor and alchemical tools that, again, I don't know a lot about it, but the alchemical tools that come in alongside a Tinker's tools, the small elements that function with that. And with that, yeah, again, the pocket pistol takes a couple more minutes to sort of effectively re-clear the barrel, but you made this gun, and you know the exact inner workings of this gun. It's simple, but you know the exact workings, and yeah, within a couple of minutes, it's as good as new. You can't even tell that there was a sort of almost a bubbling of the metal from where the bullet sort of impacted on the inside. And yeah, within 5-10 minutes or so, you have both your guns fully functional again. Again, the ammunition that you used, it was used during. Of course, you would have marked it off already. Yeah. But just for reference, yeah, it's obviously that is expended because it's dented or broken. But and you probably wouldn't want to put them in your gun anyway because of what they did. But your guns are up and functioning again. And yeah, what are the rest of you doing? I mean, it's only 5 or 10 minutes before that happens. So, is there anything that you guys are doing specifically? No.
I'm fussing over Cornelius, the owl.
God damn it.
Yeah,
Yep.
he is officially Cornelius now. Just
Well,
because had to be.
Well, in that case, you know, Ray's gonna have to die first. So yeah, I mean, you wait. Rain returns, and as you're sort of deciding what to do, and again, Elvir kind of questions you both a little bit as to sort of just how you intend to, like fix the wine without spoiling its flavor, kind of thing. But and again, you explain that however you like. But as you sort of all return, regroup, and your gun is as good as new, he sort of looks at you and says, "What is your intent in the meantime? Do you have time to take this?" And he sort of gestures the barrel. It's delivery to Krezek. It would be greatly helpful if you could, but feel free to rest here beforehand. Beforehand, it is hard word to say.
Sure. If you maybe give us an hour at least to, stop the bleeding on our faces.
Of course. We will tend to your wounds as best we can. But be warned, we are not medical practitioners, and we make wine, not spirits. So any, cauterizing or whatever you want to do. I don't know medical talk. It is not my forte. But Stefania might be able to help a little bit. And as you effectively take a short rest,
yes.
Feel free to roll up any hit dice. Regain everything you regain on short rest. You're undisturbed, other than from the Martikov family. And for those of you, let me just have a look. I need this one because of Stefania's abilities. Pretty limited, but yep.
Sorry. When I click on the hit dice and it gives me an HD, it gives me 1. I assume it's 1 hit dice. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll roll 1 dice and it'll add the same. It'll roll the dice and add the con mod. So if you roll 2 or 3, it'll roll, and it should. You can hover obviously and find out, but it should roll the 3 dice or however many dice, and then also add the con mod that many number of times.
Sure.
But double check, because I've seen it where it hasn't in the past for no explicable reason. So just
Okay.
feel free to roll, and if you can always roll 1 and then go, I want to roll another one.
I think I'll do that, only because it doesn't allow you to roll 5, does it? I only get to 4.
Before
You can roll up to 5 if you want to.
do this so that I regain it.
You regain it on short rest.
I do now. Level 5.
Is that the thing that you get? Okay, right. Because I thought you got 2. I thought you got 2 charges of it.
Nope. Short rest.
Let me see. Channel Divinity. Short. No. It's always on a short rest.
Okay.
It's always on a short rest, but you at next level, 6th level, you can use it twice between rests. I think
Cool.
paladins have it on a long rest, or possibly a short rest, but they only ever get one charge of it. But yeah, no, I mean
So
you
I have-
recharge on short rest.
So I have 25 healing points that can take everyone up to half. So who
Sure.
needs that?
Yeah. Well, I think
Less
everyone.
than
How
half.
do you
I think literally everyone. So I will quickly pop open
Run my hit
Trundle's
dice,
sheet as well.
I was gonna say,
Trundle's on
Is that rounded down or up?
Trundle's on 2 out of 59. So you know he's doing pretty badly.
That's some low rolls on my hit die.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean
that's bad.
Trundle's going to drop a few dice here as well. But if you're willing to heal
Who
him,
wants some of the 25? You guys need to tell me.
yeah, I mean you pass them out as you see fit.
should we all take 5 each? I assume.
Yeah,
That seems fair.
that seems fair. I think everyone needs it. So yeah, if you distribute it, and I think everyone's below half, and even will be
Yeah.
after the 5. So yeah, if you disperse it amongst everyone around you, you will feel that kind of life rush back in. And you, again, you know that you're going to have it back after the short rest. Again, I'm just going to roll up. Just do. Oh my god!
Wow,
And he's okay again.
he's great.
9, 10, 10, 8.
He didn't even need the 5, really.
What?
No, he did need the 5. He's still not at full,
Did he?
but he's
right.
yeah, he's at 50.
It just
Wow.
does insane.
Yeah, he has tough. He took the tough feat, so he's like got super amount of hit points, and
Yeah.
he's got 16 con, and he's a D10 class, so like he's right up there. But that puts him up to 56.
I have 1 hit die
Oh.
left. I only used 4 of my 5.
Yes, correct. Yeah, you guys would have gained the 5th one because you rested and hit level 5. So that's why when you level yourself up, it doesn't give you the hit dice back up right then. So yeah, if you
Okay. Oh, thank
Full
God. Okay,
health.
I'm okay now.
yeah, but remember on a long rest you only recharge half your hit dice.
Yeah.
Rounded
Two.
down, so you're going to regain 2 once you take a long rest. But again, you should all have been on 5 because I don't think there was any situation which would have caused you to lose any. So yeah, Trundle heals himself up. And again, if any of you are lacking slightly, I was just checking this. I got sidetracked. Where is it? There we go.
Good rolls. Health.
Embarrassingly gets me up to full.
Okay, so actually, before you expend some stuff, Stefania is going to, for all of you that need it, that you're all injured, is effectively going to use a healer's kit. She has the healer feat, effectively, and she's going to just use the healer's kit. Expend some uses of it to heal all of you. So I'll do this as just a blanket roll. So you regain. Each of you, okay. Well, each of you, because I said I'd do it. Each of you regain 10 hit points plus. This is actually insane. Plus a number of hit points equal to your maximum number of hit dice. So all of you regain 15 hit points just from her using the healer's kit on. She sort of bandages your wounds,
Okay, I would
gives
not
you
have rolled a
splints,
hit
that
die,
kind of
'cause
thing.
that would've
Yeah,
gone
I'll say you can redact like a hit dice from
I will redact
your
one of my hit dice.
yeah. But again, if you obviously redact more than 15 hit points, you can redact them further. Yeah. So I was looking it up, and then you asked questions about that, and I sort of got sidetracked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've just saved myself 2 hit dice. From
Yeah.
that.
So I think,
Brilliant.
yeah.
yeah, but
Wow.
again, you do retract it from the last one rolled. You know,
Yeah,
just
I
for
have,
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Just
I
for,
rolled
to be
2
clear,
7s
rather than
and then a 3 and a 2. So
yeah, well, it works out very well then. Yeah, because I was gonna say rather than cherry picking, I rolled 1 at first. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
back it off from the top. Cool.
Well, in that case, then I can lose with, I get 2 hit die because I had a 3 and 11, which is 30, which is 14, which still isn't 15. So
Correct. Yeah.
it's not too bad. I keep 2 hit die. Thank God for that.
Whew,
Shantia be praised.
we're not dying.
Yeah. So you all rest up over the course of the next hour. Some of you take a bit of time, just like literally lying down in bed, just to like relax, just de-armoring armoring up before the end of the rest, just to like really decompress, and as you all sort of think about what just transpired, what you saw, and the just the general sensation of uneasiness that you had as you were, and then went from uneasiness to almost, everything hit the fan in about 6 seconds. So, as your rest finishes, you find yourselves again back in the center of the brewery, the winery, excuse me, once more. This is up to you guys. What would you like to do? Again, you kind of know my opinion on taking loads of long rests in short succession. So you know that you're incapable of taking a long rest in the near future, because it is about 3 hours, I'd say maybe 4 hours after this rest as well, maybe 5 hours since you last woke up from a long rest and recovered, your health, your spells and whatnot. But again, you finish your short rest. Anything you regain on a short rest, you get back. So your channel divinity's back, your action surge is back. I believe Trundle will get something back as well. I think he gets his. Let me just check with the Lycan. He gets his transformation back on a. It doesn't fucking say. Oh, there we go. Twice. Short or long rest. So he's got it. He's got it back. He got back one of his 2 charges. He's still had the other one. So he got that back. I don't think he used his blood maledict, but he would have got that back. And yeah, cool. So he's all ready to sort of go and fight. And that healing will have put him at a ridiculous amount of health. So he's at 59. Perfect. I leave it up to you guys. What would you like to do at this point in time? So you also healed up, been patched up, or bandaged up effectively. Go for it.
We know they're going to move the wine today, aren't they?
They hope to, yeah.
Maybe we should go back and find Arena now.
If we can, yes. Sure. Better now than before they've got a chance to get back on their own feet again. Sure.
That giant thing that came to be, it moved afterwards, right? Or did it remain there?
I didn't look at it long enough to see if it was moving a lot. It might be rooted to the ground, but then again, it might be capable of moving further.
I mean, you saw it kind of pull out of the center. It wasn't like the full height of that effigy. And again, it was dark, and you were sort of seeing it through thunder flashes, and just from the sheer sound of the wood and earth just splitting and tearing. You kind of saw it move out of that space, out of the center of this thing. Standing, it's not quite hard. It's impossible to judge exactly how high, but, the effigy was maybe 50 feet high, and this thing was most of that. In terms of whether or not it was capable of moving far, fast, or anything like that, you saw it tear out, you saw it standing there. It definitely moved out of that space, but that's about all you saw.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
Maybe
think that thing will be
Sorry, go.
looking for us still?
Could be. But maybe we should come up with an idea of some way to get rid of it if it's still there.
I feel fine, but there are certain things that I can do tomorrow that I can no longer do today. So if we're going back against this thing and it's even bigger, then I'm hoping for our sake it's not looking at us when we attack. It's trouble. But I think you're right, I can have to go look at least.
Well, if it's as big as I remember it, we should be able to tell if it's there from a decent distance. Make a decision then.
Then I think we should make haste.
Alright.
Don't think any of you have the haste spell, but
Then we should make it.
I stand corrected. Touche. No, I'm just fucking with you. Okay, so what? You guys heading back that way? Okay. So as you sort of again depart, the Martikov's unable to give you any other sort of support beyond the kind of medical patching up from Stefania, which gives you a pretty good, all things considered, within maybe 10 minutes or so, she's gone around all of you, kind of patched up any of the more physical, physically inflicted wounds that some of you have received, or most of you have received, and sort of stuffs it with leaves and things that are designed. They sort of tingle when she first puts them in and bandages them up, but that she seems to know what she's talking about, and there seems to be a kind of almost a numbing sensation from them as the leaves sort of start to sort of take hold and are left in the wounds to sort of help patch them up. But as you make your way again back out of the Wizard Wines, and you make your way back around to the pathway, oh my god, I moved the whole map. Oh no. There we go, fixed it. I went to grab the token and it just like everything shifted. I was like, because obviously everything that's overlaid on it just moves. So as you start to make your way back round, and you hit the pathway again, you start to make your way. Chill the fuck out. Whoever's moving it. As you make it to around here, as you make it to the point at which the trees start to sort of convene on either side of the road, and you make it maybe 100. Sorry, I thought someone was going to say. As you make
saying, uh-oh.
yes. As you make it maybe 100, 150 feet, 100 meters, should we say, into this kind of wooded area where the woods first kind of split, you get a kind of a feeling of silence. The path in front of you wends, ahead again. It's slightly foggy and misty, and again you can see the dark clouds off in the distance, sort of settling and stirring over Yester Hill. However, you hear a sound you've heard once before. It's kind of like in fact, probably twice before. It's sort of like a sound of. It's like something's almost being thrown at you, and then you hear this kind of like distant pop. As on the path in front of you, you suddenly hear the sound of what's it called? Braying horses. As out of the thin air in front of you, two horses, one with flaming hooves, the other one skeletal and sturdy, got like levels of rusted barding on it, but two horses and two riders come out of nowhere and just turn on the road in front of you, and you see in front of you Strahd atop his burning mount, and another rider, heavily clad in armor, a skeletal horse beneath them, but you see just armor all over, and a large horned helmet that rises up, fully masking the face. You can just see glooming from within just a faint visage of just eyes you can barely make out. And as the figure arrives in front of you, again, one you've seen once before, looks down across at all of you and just smiles slightly. You all look like shit. What happened? As he just sits atop his horse. Again, the flames kind of just rippling from its mane, around its hooves. Still going.
I'm surprised you don't know.
Oh, I do. I just actually.
Small talk. It's cute.
I've not been keeping
Pleasant.
it. I've not been keeping an eye on you this morning, at least. But you seem to be quiet as always, more or less. The only talkative one is the one who can barely see me now.
Fancy enough.
Charming. And you see as he sort of like scans across all of you. And again, the other rider there just hands out on the sort of slightly frayed reins that bind to this horse that seems to be almost breathing but is skeletal, no flesh on its bones. Just again, the barding gives it more of a physicality than it probably otherwise has. And as it as they just sit there stoically, you just see faint sort of almost fogged breath just coming from through small pinholes in the visor or in the mask.
Well, where is she?
Looks across at all of you.
Where is she?
You see, like, for the first time, like, almost like a slight snap. As he just looks at you all.
You're
She ain't
fucking
even the one
druid.
you're looking for, is she? Not really, right?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said originally.
She ain't even the one you're looking for, really.
Excuse me? What do you know of who I am looking for? What
I
do
know
you
enough to pity you.
You know nothing.
She's not your Tatiana. We know that much.
As you say that name, he just sort of looks down at you and just says,
That is a name you will not speak again. And she is mine to spend time with if I so please. Now
You'll
where
find
is
that
she?
You'll find that difficult now thanks to your druid cronies.
you see him sort of sit back slightly, again, arms folded. There's like a look of just disdain on his face as his eyes cloud over briefly. And, you know, for maybe 5-6 seconds before he sort of looks back.
This is your doing.
And as he just sort of looks venomously at the group of you standing in the pathway in front of him, he just says,
I don't have time for you. I will be back.
and he will throw his hand out in front of him, and I need you all to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okie dokie.
Oh boy.
As a large ball of fire spirals out from his hand and centralizes in between you all, bursting outwards.
Hey, buddy.
I'm going to use a hero point because I failed on mine last time, but I could use it on a roll now. It's a D6.
Oh,
D6, right? Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother rolling one for Cornelius. I assume he's going to be a crispy chicken from this.
Yeah, he's roasted.
Okay, I can add a 5 to that.
Okay, 17 will fail. Yeah, you
Good.
all failed. Oh, I need to roll for Trundle, excuse me. I was wondering why there wasn't a fifth roll. It's, sorry, instinct.
What? Even me?
Oh, you succeeded.
Oh
Sorry.
my god, I was going to say 26 fails!
Oh, I fucking wish. That'd be like the ultimate fuck you from like a DM.
Wow.
Just, Trundle hits it on the nose. Okay.
Oh, of course.
Wow. Okay, so as the fireball bursts in the middle of you, he's casting it at 4th level, to be clear. So that would be, I believe it's an additional D8 per level. Just gonna check.
Can your
Full
uncanny
consistency.
dodge add more to that at all, Sophie, or is it just that's it?
Sorry?
Can your uncanny dodge?
It's something that targets me with an attack. This is an area of effect. So.
Yeah, this would be applicable with evasion, but evasion's higher level, unfortunately.
It's
Okay.
the best.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
I can't wait.
It's an additional D6. So, as again, that's annoying that it wasn't going to roll. As that sails into the center of you, as you just see this kind of venomous hand reach out, a small incantation is muttered, and from the 50 feet or so that separates him from the front of you, this ball of fire just whizzes through. As you all have time, like you all see it coming from that, but you start to move away. Only Rhea is really fast enough, and Trundle amazingly is able to sort of take the brunt of it as he turns his back, and just the flames burst up it. Guzza, Rain, and Zadie, you all take 36 points of fire damage as the fireball explodes, bursting outwards and rippling around you all. As he just, again, as you all sort of recover from it, sort of almost shell-shocked from the impact, he looks across at all of you and just says, and then he sort of turns to the rider next to him and just says, "Finish the job." And he will turn, and his horse will and you'll see him. Again, I will allow an initiative roll between now and then, but you'll see him start to ride off into the distance as his horse is able to do so. Now, let me move you onto the map. that is the correct one. Let me move visual to the map. Let's zoom in a little bit as well. And if you want to place yourselves on the map, this will actually be in reverse. So if you want to place yourselves on the right-hand side of the map, kind of along the pathway, yeah, around there. Thank you. Oh, that was me. That was me. You pinged by accident there.
Where?
Where the others have put themselves. And yeah, unfortunately, your flying buddy bursts into like a puff of flame before immediately. Like you turn yourself in time, you see it kind of flutter down in front of you, and then you just kind of see flames hit it, and then just gone, just ripped into pieces. I need to pop to the bathroom really quickly as well, but I'm going to put on the battle music at this point in time. But you do see Strahd on his horse turn back and start to gallop southward, and just sort of just says again. He says under his breath towards the horned figure on the horseback, just says, "Deal with them. We'll finish the job."
Before he leaves, can I just yell at him like, even you can be forgiven.
You don't even hear a chuckle come from that, but that's oddly appropriate.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. Two polar opposites. So, guys, go ahead and roll initiative as you have your token selected.
17.
Oh, that's why.
I thought I did. That's weird.
So did I.
Oh, if you rolled it, I mean, obviously, roll it again and add it to the sheet. But yeah.
No, I think I just drew my thing. I didn't
Right.
forward it.
Okay. And Trundle is
Yes.
there as well. Yeah. Yes. However, taking the full brunt of that.
Oh, who hasn't?
Trundle did.
No, sorry, he didn't take the full brunt. He still took the hit though.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. Does he have any? I have a feeling he's got some weird like resistance to his thing, but it's cold damage anyway. I'm not sure if he does though. So, and he is just human variant. So that it was 36. That's 18 minus 18. It's 59 minus 18. 41. 41. So he's on 41 at the moment.
Poor thing.
I know it's really tough life for him.
Feeling.
Yeah. However,
so
you
sorry for him.
already see his nostrils starting to flare, and again, just to space you guys out into reasonable areas. I'm just gonna, like I said, quickly pop the bathroom, so I'm just gonna be back in like 1 minute. But enjoy chair in the meantime, and enjoy these guys. So, if you guys need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom as well. Grab a drink, that kind of thing. We'll be 1 minute.
Hey guys, put your hands up if you have less than 10 hit points.
Wow.
It's on you, Ray.
No, I have 25.
I have 2. I have 2.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
all of our hit points added together are like 2/3 of yours.
Yeah. Trundle, I'm hoping, has a whole heap more than that.
He has 41 hit points.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
just throw him at it. And I thought that was a suicidal thing I just did, but it panned out not being.
I mean, it's not over yet.
Well, I mean, I'll definitely die. I'm on 2.
Well, shit.
Oh wow. I really don't know what to say. We should have just taken the wine to Krennic.
That's way more fun. Shall we start a betting pool on whether that guy is
It's Mark or not?
Mark or Richter?
Oh. Well, he has got the horn. He has got
He
the
does
horn.
have the horns.
Although they look like they're sticky uppy rather than.
Okay, but he is
The
in knight's
normal.
armor, so I will question his taste in clothing since then.
He'd be the finest of vampires, I'm sure.
I only caught the end of that, but yeah, you see as okay, well, as everyone's rolled initiative apart from me with Trundle, of course.
Cool.
It's because I closed the character sheet like a dumbass. I tried to do it without having a token selected. 18 is pretty good. Okay, and everyone
Lots
is
of 18 for Trundle.
yeah. So
Make Trundle do the thing.
yeah. So you guys are ready to go with this. Okay, it is. I mean, kind of unsurprisingly, Strahd's turn first. And as you as you look around again, from sort of recovering from this explosion, as the kind of ground around you has been sort of almost shattered from the impact, is left charred, just surrounding you. He looks across, and you just see him kind of, as he's turning to go, he just whistles in the air as you hear this kind of this kind of almost like a resonant whistle, as he does so. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, I'm not going to click it because I've changed it slightly. Nerfed it, actually, but changed it slightly. So, as he whistles, you see as, or you hear as the woods around you to north and south start to sort of almost, again, echo from the resonant whistle to this kind of this distant barking. And you see Trundle's ears almost prick up, and he sort of starts to look around immediately. And yeah, that is going to be his turn as he sort of kicks his heels into his flaming steed. Turns to the one on the horse and just says, "Bring me one of their heads." And he turns and just starts to run in the opposite direction. And in fact, I need to do one more initiative. Excuse me. That's what happens when you forget that sometimes steeds have their own initiative. There we go. Cool. Yeah. So. Sure. Okay, well, it's slotted in there. Alright, so, yeah, Strahd starts to make his way that way, or he turns. His horse starts to turn, and that'll be his turn. However, Trundle, seeing this, again, hearing the howls in the distance, will start to transform using his action. And as he often does, he will light his claws up as he transforms into his hybrid form. With his bonus action, he'll, like I said, light those up. That costs him 5 hit points and 5 max HP. But his claws are now sort of roasting and, burning with like an icy flame. And that'll be marked with a lightning bolt, because why not? God, everyone got 10. Right, well, that is as Trundle's turn as he sort of runs forward, and his form shifts as he moves. His footsteps, like lumbering at first, sort of stagger back up, and he starts to run towards the figure on the skeletal horse. However, it's his action and bonus action to do all that stuff. So as he stands there with his claws burning, Rain, you are now up. As you feel like, again, just the wind knocked out of you, you're able to sort of bring yourself up, recover, again, just feel the searing pain across your body, but you're ready to go, I guess. What would you like to do?
Okay, I'm gonna take 2 steps forward, and I'm gonna shoot the horse.
Okay. As you aim the gun off in that direction, go ahead and make an attack roll, please. Okay, fantastic. Where is it? I need its thingy as well. Those are all named NPCs. Okay. This one I did bolster up slightly. So as you take the 2 shots, the first shot echoes across and smacks into the horse's form. You see it kind of, again, some of the bones splinter off. You aim, take another shot in the same direction. Again, the gun pops and the shot comes through and hits true. The horse kind of, again, it seems to be damaged, but it's still standing.
Alright, cool. I'm gonna use my bonus action to second wind, because that beat the piss out of me. We're getting 14 hit points.
Okay, yeah, as again, you take that quick breath and you just channel your mind to focus in and just restore some of that energy. It's really hard to describe like a second wind in a fighter when they've just been hit by a fucking fireball. But yeah, how do you recover with second wind? How does it work for Rain?
Well, I never really thought about that. How does it work for Rain?
Yeah.
I imagine he just sort of like swallows like a huge mouthful of blood that he's slowly built up over getting blasted in the face. Bit
As
of
you
pain.
Yep.
Just sort of indulges, but yeah, that'll be him.
Sure. Okay. Why the fuck did I close that character sheet again? Bear with me 1 second, because it is now the horse's turn. Whose name you don't technically have, but you'll probably get when I click this. Oh, you don't. However, as the horse starts to just canter off, you hear again the same pop as the as Strahd starts to ride away. He and the horse upon that he's upon both just vanish and disappear off in that in that direction as they move on to the ethereal plane.
Well, I mean, we can all do that.
Good luck.
You can? Why did you tell us?
I've done it before, haven't I? Because I've met Strahd there, haven't I?
That's
Had a
not what
conversation with him.
that's not what the ethereal plane is. And you didn't have a conversation with him.
I might be muddling stuff up.
Yes, you are. That is their turns. Zadie, you're now up.
Okay, just double checking a distance thing.
Mhm.
Ugh, okay, I need to move. I am going. Oh no, they're just out of range. Okay, that's a massive pain. I can't do that this turn then. I am going to move 30 feet towards them.
Mhm.
And I am going to cast Guiding Bolt on the horse also.
Okay, so 30 feet puts you there. Effectively
That
next.
goes.
Yeah. Well, you can't move to the south because you'd be moving through allies, but yeah, effectively you could move up that way without a problem.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool.
Okay, so.
That.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck
nice.
That was what we needed.
I mean, yeah, the horse is dead. Yeah, as your guiding bolt just flies towards this kind of shattered horse, somewhat. You see as it just hits the horse, and starts to just. You watch it start to. Let me just double check something here before I let that just happen.
What happens when the horse blows up?
Wow.
No, yeah, it just straight up dead. Yeah, cool. As the bones just kind of are torn through by this radiant energy that rip through and smash into the undead form, the rider is able to sort of like heft their form forward and land right in front of the horse, dismounting with their, I believe it's like their reaction to do so. And the horse is, oh my god, what did I just do? I full screened everything and it broke. Ah, everything's broken.
The horse
There we go.
vanished.
The horse did vanish. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah, the bones are just like eviscerated. The face of the horse, the metallic armor that it's wearing, sort of crunched down around these bones. But yeah, just the searing energy that tears through it, just leaves like punches a hole from end to end of this horse, and the rider is able to sort of land in front and just sort of look up. Again, you can't see its eyes more than just these two darkened holes in the helmet. But yeah, that's your action. To have fucking just annihilated it. Yeah. Cool. What? Anything else? Anything else?
No, because the only other thing I do is cast Spiritual Weapon, and that's also a spell, so I can't do that.
That is true. Yes. Unfortunately, you can't. So that's your turn. Guzzy, you're up. Ray, you're up next.
Right, I am going to cast Bless on some folks around me.
Alrighty.
So I'm going to cast Bless on Rain, on Rhea, and on, I think, myself. Yes.
Okay. So mark yourself with concentration, and I will mark Rain, Rhea, and yourself. That is the stealth one.
Sorry.
That's all right. That one is generally.
Oh, thank you.
And there's the blessed. You're all blessed as well. So as you channel again that sort of focused energy, and it sort of pulses out in a close proximity, almost bubble. You all feel kind of the three of you feel washed over with that focus, that additional intensity, shall we say? As Guzza just sends that outwards. That's your action. Still have movement. Still have bonus action.
Yes, I do, and I will move up. I think I'll move over here,
Okay.
and that's it.
Alrighty. Fantastic. So that's your turn. Rhea, you're now up.
Right. I'm gonna move up next to Zadie, which I think is pretty much my full movement there.
Yep.
And
That's what you mentioned.
yeah, and seeing that she's just, obliterated this horse, and he's probably coming for her next, I'm going to ready a booming blade attack for if this thing gets in her face at all.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. It is now Knight's turn. Now let me just have a quick look here.
Oh god.
So yeah, they actually had a kind of a lance in hand, which is now tumbled to the ground, yeah, they're gonna pull out a a battle axe from their back, and yeah, this is interesting. Okay, so yeah, as they as you see them kind of land in front of their now obliterated horse, they stand back up to their full height effectively as they sort of do that kind of Matrix style landing, and just trudging forward. Yep, they're gonna move towards you, Zadie, as they move up. So as they move up, yeah, you do get your reaction, your reactionary attack. Again, it does eat up your reaction, but you get to make the booming blade attack as it steps in range.
Oh, terrible damage.
Mm-hmm. I can't see the roll.
Oh no, have I done that to myself? I have. 'cause
Possibly.
I'm an idiot.
What
Yes.
did you roll?
So it was a 17, 7 piercing damage and 6 thunder damage.
Okay, 17 will hit. And you said how much?
7 piercing damage
7
and 6
piercing
thunder
damage.
damage if it moves.
Wait. I believe you've got the calculation, so it does both thunder and attack in the first roll.
No, because because I'm level 5, it's 1d6 for the actual blade, and then there's an extra d8 on top of that.
And that's included in the 7.
That's included in the 7.
Right. Okay, that's what I was trying to establish. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so.
Yes, I have done that.
Yeah, because
Yes,
some
it
of
was
some
a
of
1
it
and a
is-
2.
Yeah, I figured that's why I was like, it seemed quite low. Okay, so.
Yep, and then sneak attack.
Sneak attack does apply because you have an ally in range, and it's actually technically once per thingy. Yep.
Okay.
Make sure you don't roll this yourself.
No, I didn't this
Okay,
time.
so that's a total of 7 plus 9 is 16. As you cut across, managing to find a slot within the sort of heavy armor that the individual's wearing, and they're technically marked with that. I don't think they're going to do much moving. Their first swing is going to come in with their.
First. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. There you go. 3 attacks. So the first swing is going to come in as they, as the axe that they wield comes up and swings down towards Zadie. So the first attack is a 9 to hit. That just glances off your shield. The swing comes up again. He swings again. That's a 15. That's not going to connect, is it?
God,
Nope.
no.
Yep. And last but not least, that's a 10. These are some terrible rolls. That's a just to clarify. That's a 3, a 9, and a 4 to hit. So as it steps up, woof, again, it just seems its movements are slightly too sluggish, and you being heavily wounded at this point, sort of just get yourself in a position where you're able to just move. You're in a kind of fight or flight moment, and the adrenaline gives you that extra mobility to just get out of the way of these heavy swings coming in your direction. That's its turn. Now, at initiative count 20, the howling gets louder, and you see and hear this rustling of bushes surrounding you, and from the woods in the nearby area, you see as wolves emerge from either side of the woods, rushing towards you. And I need to roll their initiatives now.
Thank you, everyone. 4 of you. All 4 of you.
So
What do you mean all 4 of you?
Oh,
I didn't
Hey,
know.
everyone!
sorry,
Hey, everyone!
shouldn't have been with
No, I'm kidding,
advantage. So that is a 10.
I got 10 as well.
Of course it did. And the second one for the top half is 9. Wow, just dreadful rolls across the board. So let me just fix that. It's one that was a 10. I know we usually do it as a random reset, but because of the order we've got it in now, Zadie's before Gaza, and we'll see if this wolf pulls in ahead or below using the descending tool. And technically, Zadie's before Gaza. And the horse, the nightmare actually ended up at the bottom, even though it should be at the top. So, but it's out of the picture. So, as he's not taking a turn, it is now Trundle's turn. Trundle, seeing the wolves and seeing this large guy, is going to step up towards the large figure and is going to make his technically 3 attacks. So, is that the right one? I'm going to find out. That is the right one. Yeah, that's the right one. Cool. Attack. One of those hits as the first one comes in and jams into the form of this figure, just managing to get through the armor. You see the figure's head just turn ever so slightly as it's sort of just holding this axe up, ready to kind of swing at whoever's nearby.
The third one hit.
No, it misses.
Bless.
But he's not blessed. You went Rain, yourself, and Rhea.
Of course I did. I'm looking at a different picture. I apologise
Yep,
profusely.
that's
Sorry.
right. That's right.
Can he hero point one of them?
He could, but they're not being spent.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're not mine to spend. So as he sort of just claws in, the first one gets through. The second one, just again, you see as the claw sort of comes through. The claws are actually still forming at this point and just sort of bang off against the armor. And the third one, they seem to clash into it, but it just sort of scrapes against the metal, leaving this thin trail of sort of slightly lighter metal across the dark armor of this thing's form. Rain, you're now up. Your friend's sort of surrounding this guy. What would you like to do?
I am going to take 1, 2, 3, 4. No, actually, no. We'll move back 1, go down 1, and I'm going to shoot I think I'm going to shoot the pink dog.
Okay, pink. All right, so go ahead and
Shoot the pink dog. So let's go. Bang.
take roll.
Bang.
Pink's dead with the first shot, and as you swing around, where else are you aiming?
Alright. I'm going to... Actually, I was going to action surge this turn, seeing as I got it back.
Okay.
And my character sheet's frozen. Give me a minute.
Oh.
Cool.
So who are you targeting with the second?
I'm going to shoot purple next.
Okay, it's
Yellow.
purple is also dead. As you take the shot.
Right.
Kiss on the mouth for you later.
Cool.
No.
Right, okay, now I'm going to use my action surge to shoot yellow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Boom.
Yep.
And then we're going to take a shot at yellow. That's
15,
bad.
15 hits, and you see it sort of it slams into the wolf. The wolf's still standing.
And I'm going to shoot orange up ahead, like behind me.
Mm-hmm. And you see as that shot echoes through again, slamming into the wolf. The wolf's still standing, but looking heavily wounded.
Alright. And that is essentially my turn. I need to reload as my first action next turn. So
in fact, you would have needed to reload as your last shot.
Oh, no, you're right.
5, so
miscalculated.
yeah. So you've reloaded, but that one does not hit.
Yeah,
that
I had 1 bullet back, but the last one doesn't hit. Okay.
Sure. Well, that's what. Yeah, it doesn't happen. Yeah, cool. So as you empty the gun out, start to jam them all in. That is your turn. It is now the bottom single wolf's turn. This one is going to rush up and targeting the nearest person. It's just going to rush straight towards Gaza. So rushing towards Gaza, it doesn't have any advantage or anything, but it is wildly intent on attacking you. So the attack comes through. That's a 6 to hit. Yeah. Dice are loaded. It's all good. And yeah, it just it almost slips in the mud. It's the shot as it ran in has staggered in, and it just is unable to even connect with you as it slides in. So yeah, that's those wolves' turns. And interestingly enough, Zadie, it's now your turn. Gaza, you're up next.
Cool. I am going to take the disengage action.
Okay. All right. So you take the action to sort of step away. I should have given this guy Sentinel, but no, we're not completely brutal. So yeah, you take your action to sort of just bring your shield up and with the same motion back away. And as this thing swings coming in, the shield just sort of provides you enough visual cover from the probably relatively limited visual that it has to sort of step away and move back and shuffle your way into the center of your allies. So that's your action. You still have a bonus action. You still have movement.
Okay, bonus action, I am going to cast Spiritual Weapon and bonk him on the head.
Okay, so again,
Or
because
not.
obviously haven't prepped it, 14 will not hit, unfortunately. Where were we? What were we using for
It was
the...
a cat last time.
It was a cat last time. I think I've got something that could be a little bit better. Like just tokens from games past. Like, oh, there we go. The Zook meme, child in a Red Riding Hood outfit that was
Oh my
originally
God.
joked to be Zook. I put my effort in to upload that at some point. So it swings in, but again, the figure it does sort of come down and connect with the figure, but you just hear the sound of the semi-ethereal spikes on the Sunburst Mace just jam into the metal, seemingly causing no damage. That's your bonus action, your action movement. That's your turn. Gaza, you're up. Wolves, then Rhea. So be prepared.
Right, I'm gonna look at this wolf. Evil grin. Pull out the whistle. Give it a little blow.
Alrighty. Okay, so as the whistle goes off, it has to make a spell save of wisdom save of 15 at disadvantage because it's a wolf. So the breath of Yevgeny rushes out. You hear the sort of the muttering of... No, I'm kidding. You just hear a whistle. It's very faint. It's like very high pitched. And as the wolf kind of like barrels up to you, snarling and snapping at you, it reels back, and you see the kind of the what do you call it, blood oozing from it from where the shot is impacted into it. Wisdom save at disadvantage. I mean, that's pretty good for disadvantage, but it's not good enough. So as the wolf sort of snarls, and it sort of stops, and you see it like it looks in pain. As it sort of stares at you again, you see the blood kind of dripping down its leg. But it kind of just it slows, it sort of lowers its head slightly, and you sort of like licks towards your like metallic leg, or towards you. Again, it just like seems relatively submissive, like lowering its head. Again, the pain that seems to be suffering, you hear it sort of breathing slightly heavily. The sort of gurgle of the blood bursting out of its chest slightly. It is now charmed by you. Now, charmed doesn't mean it's going to necessarily fight on your side. Do be clear.
Simple beast, I say under my breath.
But it is no longer hostile to you or your allies. And it sort of just lowers its head and looks around. One sec. I need to check something. Okay, yeah, it just lasts 24 hours. Yeah, it's not concentration. I was just double checking. Because item spells cast with an item that have concentration, you do still need to concentrate on them. But it doesn't
think about that.
But it doesn't have concentration. So as the spell goes off, the wolf sort of lowers its head, and sort of you see it kind of there's like a definite fight in its eyes, but it stops sort of aggressively acting towards you and sort of turns itself to one side. Anything else? That's your action.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I'm good there, selling.
Okay. It is the other wolves' turns. They are going to just rush in, and with their speed of, I believe, 40 feet. Yeah, they're all going to be able to make it up to someone. These two are just going to sort of rush in. There's definitely one on Rhea. There's definitely one on Trundle. And there's two. The first one I'm going to roll. This is just RNG. First one, a 1 is Trundle, 2 is Rhea. The second one, a 1 is Rhea, 2 is Zadie. So the first one is Trundle, and the second one is also they're both going to the left-hand targets that they could have gone for. So correct. So this wolf is going to move in. This one's going to move in. This one's going to move in, and this one's also going to move in as they sort of just rush into the area. Rhea, you are getting 2 attacks, and Trundle's getting 2 attacks. So I'll do the 2 on Trundle first. They have advantage because pack tactics. So the 2 bites. First one on Trundle. That will hit him and he has to make a strength save. This is where DM fights the DM for about 5 minutes. So just quickly do the strength save. He fails. He falls prone. Oh no, he has advantage on strength checks and saves. He still fails. He falls prone. So yeah, he falls prone. But they already had advantage anyway, so he'll probably just get up on his turn. However, he's prone, so the other wolf on him, again with advantage, doesn't hit. Doesn't hit, but he does still take the half damage from that first attack, which was 3 halved. So as these wolves slam into him, the 2 then on you, Rare, also with advantage because pack tactics. 14 to hit. It's identical roll. With advantage, the second one 9 with advantage. What? Look at these damage and dice. What the hell? Okay. Anyway, they don't hit apparently as they just lunge in at you. The spiritual weapon kind of bobs in their way, and the just the sheer everything that's going on causes them to kind of just unable to connect with you as you, somewhat hurt, pull yourself out the way before they can impact into you. That's their turns. Ray, you're up.
Okay. I am going to aim another booming blade attack at the big scary knight fellow.
Yep.
Make sure I'm not rolling it to myself again.
That'd be wise.
Stupid.
17 just hits, and this is some better damage for you. So you also need to roll sneak attack because you have an ally in range. Oh, they're prone. They're not incapacitated, so it still applies technically.
Yeah.
As weird as that is, very nice. So that's 28 damage as you bring the blade in, and it connects with his form as he's sort of standing there. It just sort of ends in, pierces through the metal, and the body just kind of reels back slightly. You hear this kind of this come from within the armor, but it sort of just staggers back. Its hand comes down, the one not holding the axe, and just pulls your arm away as your blade comes in. The crackling energy sort of wreaths around its torso slightly.
Hearing that and seeing these 2 wolves around me, I'm going to disengage, and I'm going to run.
I really should have given this guy Sentinel.
I'm going to run just over to there. Just that far.
Sorry, just moving something on the GM layer. Cool. Yeah, so you just wheel round. The wolves seem intent on sort of focusing on this just group of people. However, the 2 that were there sort of harassing you, as you dash away, see Zadie, Raid, and Guzza from behind and start to sort of like make their way in that direction. However, it's not their turn just yet. That's your movement gone. This guy standing over Trundle is going to make his 3 attacks at Trundle. The first one is going to be a claw attack on him on the ground. As from the armor you see this metal protrusions jut out, and the hand comes down swinging towards Trundle with advantage. So the claw that hits Trundle. Trundle has to make a con save. So Trundle's con save. He succeeds, so he doesn't become paralyzed as the attack comes through. However, it does do 4 slashing damage to him on the ground, and as the hand comes back, it then brings itself into an axe, and the axe comes swinging down towards Trundle for 2 more attacks at advantage. So the first attack, that'll hit him, that'll also hit him, and you see as Trundle's, that's 14 and 16 because the necrotic isn't halved. You see as Trundle falls unconscious on the ground there, his form starting to shift back from the attacks. As he falls unconscious, again, it's when he's incapacitated, his form starts to change, and as you sort of step away, you see it again. He again, you know from having seen it happen in the past. It starts to shift. The claws, I believe, stay aglow, or his hands stay aglow. However, as he starts to shift back, he's no longer got any claws for them to be marked by. That'll be the knight's turn as the knight sort of steps forward, making its way directly towards you, Zadie. Just sort of. However, it's used its 3 attacks. That's its turn. We're now back around to Trundle, who needs to make a death save. Should roll straight to the GM. Okay. Oof. Rain, you're up.
All right. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, and then I'm going to shoot the 2 wolves.
Okay, what the one beneath the spiritual weapon?
Yeah,
and
I'm going to shoot orange.
Ah!
Orange and
Red.
Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, well, it is actually red, appropriately enough. Okay, so as you take aim, 17 will hit and kill.
Okay, great. I'm gonna use my Deadeye on this next one to give myself advantage, and shoot the one with the Red Riding Hood on it.
Cool.
Can't see its
I'm
colour.
gonna say you, because you're just like picking things off multiple times a turn. You're not gonna regain a grit point from killing this.
Okay.
That's the trade-off you're making. Okay, you take the shot. Boof, funnily enough, it doesn't kill it. As the shot echoes out, and again, its form just sort of gets shoved by the shot, but it stays standing. And you see as some of the wolves that were sort of surrounding Trundle's body now seem to turn to face towards you. So that's your 2 shots. Anything else?
I think that'll be my turn actually.
Okay.
So that'll be me.
All right. It is now the one remaining wolf's turn down at the bottom. It is effectively, being that it's charmed, it is effectively. God, this becomes really weird. Let me have a look. I just want to see how it's treated. Oh, how it's phrased. Can't attack the charmer or target the charmer with harmful abilities or magic effects. Has advantage on the ability check to interact socially with the creature. Cool. So yeah, the wolf sort of just again becomes passive and whatnot. It's not going to make any attacks. It is going to sort of move itself around a little bit and kind of watch what's happening, but with almost like an abject, vague interest of there's noise and fighting and clashing and other wolves. It sort of just smells the air, and it seems to bare its teeth slightly, but it doesn't do anything per se more than sort of have a different reaction to the situation. Zadie, you're up. Guzza, you're up next.
Cool. I'm going to move here, so I'm not leaving his range.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on Trundle. Fuck. How did that...
Wow. Wow.
It still gets an extra fucking...
4,
5.
5 because it's the 3rd level. So, wow. That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was not good.
No, that's about
Sorry,
it.
Trundle.
As you step over again, you, in your own damaged state, start channeling the energy, and you feel some of it almost not wanting to leave your body, just from the sheer, despite you being willing to raise your friend, you see as the energy is almost like starting to try and fill itself into your own wounds, and start feeling almost the tingling of your burns, but you cause it to surge through. Trundle sort of on the ground gasps out of his unconsciousness, and I believe, let me just double check that he is out of hybrid form. Lasts 10 minutes. You revert if you fall to drop to 0 hit points, fall unconscious, or die. Okay, cool, yeah. So he is prone. I need to double check about the weapons, but I believe that he's fine, and they are still aglow, shall we say. But you see him sort of gasp back to life, sort of on the ground, sort of somewhat unaware of his surroundings. That's your action. You still have a bit of movement and possibly and a bonus action. You do.
Bonus action, I'm just going to move the spirit and hit the big guy again.
Okay, so it swoops over, almost trying to interpose between Trundle and it. Go ahead and make the attack roll, please.
Oh my god, it's asking me which
Level, yeah.
I just want to hit it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, again, the magic that's emanating out of you is kind of weakened by the fact that you're just a bit dazed, just from this sheer intensity of this fight, and it just swings lazily, doesn't make the impact. You feel somewhat drained just from channeling that energy into Trundle. Anything else? Any movement?
No.
Okay. Guzza, you're up. Ray, you'll be up after the wolves.
Quick question: red, blue, and green. How are these wolves looking?
Red's hurt. You can see it sort of like its attention is sort of spun. It seems to be kind of confused. It was sort of turning towards Rain now. This figure of Zadie sort of moved up towards it. It sort of its head has turned. It can smell the kind of burnt flesh effectively. But that's the only one that's damaged. The other two are untouched.
Cool. I will walk around this night figure to then end up next to red.
Okay, 5, 10. Yeah, you can easily do that. Yeah, you sort of just move away from its range. It seems to be somewhat intently focused on the other two facing the other direction. But as it sees you come into vision, you definitely see its eye line sort of, which head sort of creep towards you. So you move over there. What would you like to do?
Miss. Initially.
Yeah. That'll miss. As you raise up to swing, you again. How does the nat 1 happen in this regard? Because it's a nat 1. Oh, you have an even 0 on the +5 -5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just trying to ready it up, and again, the strength in your body has already been sapped earlier today. You've taken the rest. You've recharged yourself, but from the fireball bursting around you, you just feel your limbs locking up slightly. You swing, but it's just too slow and too short. Unfortunately missing.
I'll try again.
This one is wounded, by the way. Red is wounded already.
I'm good.
Yeah, 4 misses.
This went from one extreme to the other very quickly.
The irony of me rolling a +D4 at this point is redundant.
Correct. It would not hit. And as you again just heft it out, the earth sort of still stuck on the scythe. You swing again, not impacting with the wolf. Anything else? You still have about 10 feet of movement.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Go ahead and make just a general charisma check as well, please.
Is this a saving throw or just a check? Sorry.
Just to check. Okay, cool. It is now the other wolves' turns. This is a tough one. This becomes really weird and messy. The red one is going to lunge at you, Guzzer, as you've just tried to hit it twice. It's sort of dodging out the way. So I'm just going to do Red's attack first, because Trundle is then going to use his reaction to try and attack it, but it does get the attack off first. It doesn't have advantage on this because it doesn't have any allies nearby. The bite goes in for 16 to hit.
It hits.
I need to make a strength save. As its bite latches in and leaves you on. So you're able to stay your ground. You also need to make a concentration check. As it bites across. Again, it's wounded. It's sort of eyeing you up, but as it's doing so, yeah, you definitely maintain concentration.
Great. There it is.
And Trundle makes his reactionary attack at disadvantage because of Sentinel, but he's lying down. So as he sort of sees it, I'll say he grabs his rapier up and just thrusts it. In fact, no, he's just going to try and punch it effectively and I will just use his predatory strike for this. It's only 1 damage from the hit, but he has icy hands still. So the attack's going to come across. Even with disadvantage, that'll hit. Even with 1 damage, the ice is enough as they're still sort of fading. He slams his hand across, and you see the back half of this wolf freeze up. Some of the blood pouring from its wound from the gunshot, sort of icing up, and it just cracks to one piece. It's still kind of there, and just sort of the front half of its body sinks down as the rest of the legs stay frozen somewhat up. As Trundle's sort of lying there, sort of dazed, slightly confused, but the wolf does die from the impact. The other two are going to... they're surrounding Trundle. They're going to attack. So Blue is going to attack at Trundle at advantage because he's prone and it has pack tactics. 15 misses. His AC 16. Wow. I think. Let me double check. His AC is listed as 16.
Like 18.
Yeah, he's no longer wielding a shield. He's wielding his hands. And in fact, he's not in hybrid form. So yeah. Whew. He has 16 exactly on the button. That's crazy.
Oh god.
So the other one's going to attack with advantage. 4 damage. He's got more than 4 hit points, so it sinks its teeth in. He's already prone, and they're going to kind of reposition around around you guys. This one is going to kind of move itself into that one's space. I'm just going to delete the top one for ease of purpose. And this one is going to move to flank sort of you guys. It's still got its eyes on you. In fact, it technically can't do that. So it'll move to there to sort of just like sort of interpose somewhere. It's definitely focused on Trundle as they bound around. But Rhea, you are lurking behind it. And speaking of you, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
How bad does Mr. Nasty Knight look?
It's hard to tell. The heavy armor, the damage it's been going through is like punching small holes or finding gaps. There's no you can't see the physical form. You get a smell of like just being near it. You get a smell of kind of not necessarily earth, but like it has this sort of odor to it slightly. In terms of seeing its damage, it's pretty hard to gauge. You heard you heard it grunt from the stab you gave it, the sneak attack, but it didn't. The energy is still wreathed around it slightly. In fact, it would probably have dissipated now, right? Because it's coming back around to turn, or the end of its turn maybe. I can't remember which way around it is, but either way.
Did it take the extra damage from the thunder, by the way, when it moved?
It did move. Excuse me. Yes, it should have. It didn't. So the extra damage was 8.
Oh god.
I have 8 listed. So yeah, it does take the additional 8. Again, you see it's going to stagger slightly from the shock that echoes out. But yeah, no, it's hard to gauge, honestly. The armor's got a few scratches and dents on it now, but its expressionless helmet with the large horns ripping out make it hard to gauge.
Okay. I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna cast Levitate on it.
Okay. Alright, you're gonna cast Levitate on it.
Better hope it doesn't have an iron pot, because
Bold strategy.
Hang on,
hate it.
because it says it's level, but oh god.
It is just lighter than 500 pounds. Just so. Con save. Interesting. Oh. Oh, it doesn't have advantage. Don't want it marked with advantage before I roll that. Yeah. As you.
20 feet in the air. Gone.
Yeah, and as you do so, it starts to lift up and raise up in the air as you channel the spell.
I'm just gonna start cackling madly.
Very nice. Because that's from your racial trait,
My
right?
racial feat. Hello, fly, my pretty fly.
And it starts to bob up in the air. Where is it? Looking for the levitate icon. There's like a levitatey icon. We'll use the wings because that's pretty clear cut. Let me move that to the front as well. There we go. So we can just health bar. Yeah. So as you do that, it starts to sort of rise up. And
wow.
I'm so happy. Right. Seeing that and knowing I have to concentrate on this thing, I'm going to disengage, and I don't know what the heck's going on with this one here, so I'm going to run full movement up to the top there. How far can I get? Just yeah.
You make your way
up to there. Was it there?
Yeah, it was about there. Yeah. Anyone who would be able to reach you would be able to reach you, and anyone who can't. So it's now the knight's turn.
Yeah.
Have I?
Is it Trundle's turn?
Don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
I want to take a break to give this guy some ranged attacks. No, he's up in the air, sort of floating there, kind of just like almost floating to one side. The form of this figure can't effectively do anything, and is up in the air. That will be its turn. Trundle is now up. He will get up, and he'll get up and he will attack. He'll draw his weapon, not marked with the the glow because it takes his action to transform. But he will make attacks with his silvered rapier. So now he's no longer at disadvantage. And for the sake of this, because I can't remember the exact ruling, I'll say those things fade because he's not going to hybrid form again. But he's going to swing the silvered rapier on green. That will hit but doesn't kill it. And he will swing again to try and kill it. And that is exactly its health. So it has 11 hit points. It's now dead. So he sort of just steps up, and in his kind of dazed moment, he realizes sort of the state that he's in, sees this guy float up and away, and he'll go and just turn and slice through green, and green will fall to the ground, creating sort of this almost circle of dead wolves. That is his turn. However, he's sort of gonna spin towards blue and move to one side to try and like sort of draw its attention somewhat away, but he can't attack. So Rain, you're up.
Snaky boy.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide what I want to do. There's a doggy there that needs a shooting.
There's a floaty guy.
I'm going to take it 2 spaces to the left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shoot the blue dog.
Okay.
Oh!
Yeah, I mean, it's low damage, but it's enough to kill it as you take the shot. Wait, with advantage.
What
Oh.
will be the
First
The
roll.
first roll was a 20, but
Oh, the first roll
Yeah,
was
yeah.
20. I didn't
Yeah.
take off the
Because you did
advantage.
your dead
I'm sorry.
eyes.
so
I
it's all
forgot
good.
to take it
That's
off.
alright. So as the shot echoes out, it slams into Wolf, and it again crumples to the ground in the center of your allies. Again, you have to aim the shot to make sure you're not hitting any of your badly wounded friends. But as you take the
I'm now
shot,
going to shoot the flying knight.
okay, go ahead and take the shot. All right, 21 will hit,
Low
and
damage roll, but
you sort of take the shot, and it echoes off, but it does pierce through the armor. So I mean, at this point in time, you have a charmed wolf and an enemy sort of up in the air to expedite things slightly, being that there's nothing that is going to break your concentration in the short term, in the 10 minutes, shall we say, that your spell is is running for, and you're concentrating on it. What would you guys like to do out of sort of an initiative order? The wolf is somewhat confused. You see that it was sort of raring to potentially go into the battle based on your sort of your turning of it, but it seems to just sort of wait there, confused, kind of seeing other wolves killed. Not quite. Again, it's not mentally itself. So there's like a definite sort of duality to the way it's behaving, but it's not aggressive towards any of you, as Guz has sort of charmed it, and it's sort of just there waiting, looking around, confused. Meanwhile, this guy hovers in the air, heavily clad, armored, knight of death kind of thing. What do you want to do?
Alright, I'm gonna just blast everyone around me with for like all the time, the whole time. So we'll do a preserve life. So that's 25.
How are you dividing?
Ray,
How are you dividing it up?
Ray, is okay, right? You're fine.
Rare can't be helped. Rain can't be helped. Everyone else.
I'm
could-
exactly at half. I'm okay.
You're exactly half. So
Guzza.
it's me, Guzza, and Trundle.
Correct.
So
Yeah, you
Guzza,
can't help me.
Guzza and Trundle can take 10 each, and I'll take 5.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Trundle would probably wave you off a little bit. It's still fully. He makes full use of it, but he's not
Okay,
necessarily aware of the way this works. So you heal him as you see fit. So Guzza gains 10, Trundle gains 10, you gain 5.
And then I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on myself also and gain another
11.
11. Yeah,
Very nice.
Um,
I'm feeling better.
I'd like to move a bit closer, and I'd like to use my mage hand to try and take the guy's helmet off.
Okay.
Ooh,
Um,
spicy.
Yeah, no, I mean, as you cast Mage Hand, sort of again materializes near there. There's like a brief moment where you're like, you cast it instinctively, and there's like a very brief moment where you sort of think like, shit, I might need to. No, I don't need to concentrate on this. It's all good.
I
As the
was
hand-
going to say,
Yeah,
I did
yeah, yeah.
check before I did it.
I know,
Unless
but
I've
in the heat of battle, you don't necessarily have time to check your spells and cast them. So as you cast it, you're like, oh, no, we're good.
You know it well enough.
Yeah, and this guy's 20 feet up in the air. You see it sort of thrashing about somewhat, hearing the armor, seeing some sort of ichor dripping out every so often from the wounds that it sustained. but it still hovers 20 feet up. Its axe sort of in one hand. You see it almost considering like, you know, throwing the axe, but it's just got it held in one hand. And you Mage Hand, you go to grab one of the horns of the helmet. You see it kind of pull and whatnot. It seems relatively affixed, and there's no sort of visor per se. You reckon with more force, you could potentially get it off, but with a Mage Hand of 10 pounds of force, it's not enough to remove it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of feel it tugging, but it feels like it's like there's a strap underneath or something that's like holding it on. You know, physical, that you can kind of feel the strain against.
If there's a strap, can I undo it with Mage Hand, or is it something because I can't see it really?
Still holding it as well.
Can I
go ahead
do
and
a
make
check?
go ahead and make an investigation check. Yeah.
Okay.
Because again, this thing is like fully down to the neck, whatnot, but you do still have some sense of tangibility from your feeling with your hands. As you feel,
I have bless on that as well, probably.
you do. I'd say this is still within that minute time frame. So go ahead and
Okay. One second.
actually, you can't apply bless to ability checks. Attack rolls,
Can you not? Oh,
attack roll saving
never
throws.
mind.
Yeah. No, that's all right. That's all right. I recall as you sort of said it. 16 is still pretty good. You feel around on the inside. Doesn't feel like a clasp necessarily. It feels more like there's like it's kind of been designed to maybe not to be taken off. Probably not by the wearer. It seems to almost like be pieced together in a way. You reckon with more force you could take it off. You might damage the head underneath, but like you don't feel a clasp per se, more than like a fusing of metal to have applied this helmet. But you get the sense again it could come off just with more force.
Come on, guys. What are we gonna do? I can't hold this forever, you know.
I shoot it again.
Yeah, let's just hit it until it stops moving.
Okay.
Good idea.
Yep.
I mean, even if it is...
I'll take my bow out and.
Sure. Again, to save the time of you all rolling attacks and whatnot to try and kill it and whatnot, you're able to bring it down. Bless will drop during this time because it's only a minute long.
Sure.
But so
Can I kill this wolf as well?
yeah, if you want to sort of coup de grace it, just sort of drag your blade through.
Hush.
Um,
Here's your.
Skull split.
But you're still concentrating, but you don't have bless. You don't have bless either anymore. Good sir. Rain. So as you're sort of taking shots, kind of just turkey shooting this form that is moved up again, Ray, you concentrating on it as you do so, and the mage hand kind of fizzles out. You deal enough damage to it by sort of sacred flaming it and shooting arrows into it, leaving a couple of arrows jutting into its armor and denting up the looks like rather fine armor that has been punctured and damaged here. It is kind of I believe full plate, or possibly splint, excuse me. It after a little while of sort of thrashing and whatnot, the hands sort of fall to one side as it's sort of hanging there slightly at a kilter angle from all the impacts that have sent it kind of spinning a little bit, and the hand that holds the axe falls to one side, and the axe just falls into some of the earth, just sort of wedges itself upright, the handle sticking up, and the arms kind of just drift lazily to the side.
Seeing that it's gone limp, I'll start
dropping.
I think so, yeah. And I'll just drop concentration, and it will slowly sink to the ground.
It was all
Yeah,
a
I'll try
ruse.
and
It
guide
gets
him
back
down
up
as
and
well.
fight. No, I'm kidding. It's very dead. So as the form sort of falls to the ground again, it crumples into the arms that are extended and falls almost relatively peacefully with its hands there, but with this helmet, these horns kind of jutting up.
I'm going to try and take the helmet off.
Okay, go ahead and make a strength check, please.
I cast guidance on myself.
Sure.
Remember that I just literally remembered that I had that like today.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these I do want to be clear about guidance. It's one of the cantrips that, like, you in these kind of in the moment things, because it lasts for a minute. I'm pretty happy to apply it liberally because it's a cantrip and it's minor, but it can be really cool. When it's like, hey, I'm doing 10 hours of research. Here's guidance. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
15.
15. Wait, do you have a proficiency in strength saves? I don't think you do as a cleric, so that would be the
I
same
thought
as
it
a
was
strength.
a check. But
It is, well, you roll the save, is what I mean. So.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, but it's the
Um,
same, I think, unless you have proficiency.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, 15 is what you needed. So as you sort of pull against the helmet, again you feel like it's kind of almost bending slightly underneath, and there's a certain part of you that almost doesn't want to do it, but you get your fingers up on the inside. There's a slightly not quite sharp edge round the neck, and you're able to kind of get it over the chin of this form. Again, the flesh feels cold. And you're able to sort of move it up, and with enough force, I would say someone else, Trundle or Guzza, probably sort of supporting the body down. Yeah, supporting the body down. The helmet sort of slides off, and you see lying there in front of you, probably what some of you may have expected, Ismark lying there, sort of face cold, eyes kind of bloodshot and red, and kind of blood kind of spilled down his face. Ismark's body lies there, broken, dead, by your own hands. And that's where we'll take a break. So we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. So we'll say 35 past. We'll be back to just chill and play some more D&D.
Harry?
So
Oh no, I was just waving by.
well,
Oh, sorry.
but yeah. But we will be right back. Cool.
Right.
I'll be right back.
And we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. I had to get food, and then we just chatted for a little while because it's fun to chat. Out of the context of everything being morbid and sad, and then it's like, hey, we want to fight, and oh, there's a dead guy we used to know. So, yeah, it's like the break is just the EastEnders theme tune. Anyway, you take this thing out of the sky, this sort of undead Hollow Knight, as I titled it because I thought it was nice. But you float it gently down to the ground. Zadie and Guzza collectively managed to remove the helmet, and like I said, lying there on the ground in front of all of you is Ismark Kolyanovich, the one of the nice people, the few people who's been nice to you since you arrived here, but dead. Zadie, I would say go ahead and make a... I guess this will be a choice of your own. Say it can either be medicine or, and I think you'll probably go with medicine, or religion check on Ismark as you sort of just see him for the first time in a while.
Cool. I'm going to cast guidance.
This is more of a passive thing, actually.
Oh.
It's more of like it's more of a passive.
I'm fine.
That's a nat 20. Yeah. So just looking at the body, you can kind of see underneath the skin on his sort of above his bloodshot eyes, like above his brow. You can almost see like a slight like writhing, almost like there's some sort of like again nothing immediately like oh my god it's going to attack us or something. Just like the idea of something, like say a maggot or a worm kind of moving beneath the surface of his skin. Moving under his again tattered, blood-streaked, sort of sweaty or oily hair that's kind of slicked back, and you get the sense that he's been dead for a while, like before you came into contact with him here, or undead, should I say? You didn't get the sense, you don't have a passive sense of undead, and there was like a slight odor to him, but there weren't immediate telltale signs other than the hardiness of this individual as to just what they were. But you are beyond reasonable doubt. You believe that Ismark here has been dead for, especially with the nat 20. Like it's been probably a week since you last saw him. Maybe maybe not quite even that long, but for I'd say maybe 5 days. Yeah, I mean this has happened quickly. I'd say maybe 5 days, and you would hazard a guess that he's been dead at least 3, and probably the treatment of his body in that time. Well, you don't know, but you gather that the way he's been treated. Oh yes, the wolf is dead. Thank you, Harry. Yep, cool. Yeah, just yep, he's dead. Cool, he's gone.
Oh,
He had like a super powerful magical item, but you killed him, so he didn't give it to you. He was gonna go dig it up, but hey, no, no, I'm kidding you. Yeah, you could have like just I don't know, drive the edge of your scythe through the back of its skull, and yeah, you glean that Ismark's been dead for quite some time. In terms of, it wasn't like you just killed him now. You see even the kind of, just looking at his armor that you haven't even attempted to take off, you can see that the places where the armor's actually been fully pierced and blood has kind of come out, the blood is already kind of coagulated before it left the body. It's thicker, it's gloopy, it's darker, like it's been oxidized for a little while, just from lack of lack of fresh air pumping through the body. And it's sort of turned into that like gelatinous goop. That being said, it's only been 3 days, and I mean, it looks like his body, or he has been treated with, he's been raised from the dead in some form or other. Even with this would be more of a religion check, but like you're not quite sure of the applicable nature of something that isn't revivify, something more powerful, perhaps. But you are aware that revivify's window has passed quite significantly.
I think we might have just freed him from quite a horrible existence there.
What are you talking about? We just killed one of the people we were supposed to eventually, hopefully save.
No, he's been dead for a while.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Oh, what are we going to do?
Well, we could lay him to rest. Maybe take him back to the winery and lay him to rest there. Or I could try and talk to him tomorrow.
Talk to him?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that? When he's dead?
I think so.
You okay with doing that?
Sadie, this
I mean,
life
want
has
to-
ended.
wouldn't want to do it to a soul that's passed and been put at rest, but he ain't at rest yet, and I'm sure he'd want to help us, save his sister or destroy the thing that did this to him. I don't know. It's something that I learned about as a kid that I know some people do. I ain't sure if it's something I'm okay with doing, but I think I could.
I mean, if anyone's going to tell us anything useful, it would be him at this point. He's spent the last couple of days at Strahd's castle. But what are we going to do? What about Irina? I mean, I don't think it'd be a good idea to go running after Strahd after he dropped that huge fireball on us, but
No, that
It's-
was
What?
not good.
what do we just forget about her? Or have enough faith that I don't think he cares about her except in some weird twisted way, but he doesn't want her to die, obviously. At least
He
Please.
might have done to her what he did to him, to Ismark here, but
I mean, he took his milk. He didn't know about Irina. It's possible he's gone to see what the Druids have done, if anything, to her. We ain't in the best of shape to be fighting, but we might be able to see if there's, any damage he's laid in his path. Obviously, the other scenario is they captured it and given it to him. And all that's left is, 6 healthy looking druids and their berserker companions. And we're looking at a hell of a trouble. We ain't in any position to fight right now.
Got the impression he kind of worked out what happened to her. I mean, he did end by saying this was our doing, which makes me think he knows what happened.
Which is bullshit, by the way. Complete bullshit.
I mean,
everything bad that's happening here is happening because of him. This is his fault. He just won't fucking admit it because that kind of person never does.
If he said it's our fault, then it suggests that, and he recognizes what's happened to her, there's a possibility that indeed something bad has happened, so perhaps he has, unleashed his vengeance upon these fiends.
maybe.
Somehow I don't think we're going to be getting any more dinner invitations from him.
No, he didn't seem annoyed about that, though, so that's nice.
No, he just asks for one of our heads. Repayment for his...
Speaking of, perhaps it'd be in our interest if we leave particularly quickly. I mean, Lord knows where he's gone, and I have no particular interest in sitting around here out in the open.
So we moving on to see what's the carnage he might have left behind, or are we returning to the winery? Again, battered, beaten, bruised, but pleasant. Present. There's no word beginning with B for present.
I don't know.
I think we go back once more.
We go back carefully. Oh, sorry, you're saying go back to the winery?
Go back to the winery is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Okay.
Rain, what do you think?
I think we go there for now, but we shouldn't hang around. I mean, don't want to bring any ills with us to their doorstep. I think they've already suffered enough at Strahd's hands. If he does follow us, you no doubt will come there.
We still ain't got their seed.
Which direction did Strahd head in the DM?
He headed south. He headed
Would that be
towards
the
Yester
Druids?
Hill. Yeah. Yeah. We'll move you
I
guys.
want to take is there any way I can sort of, look in that general direction, and even from like a distance, will I be able to see anything of sorts?
I mean, you're a couple of miles away from it.
Yeah,
I mean, and
anything
it's
that's, like,
always
smoke, anything
there's
of
always
that
there's
nature.
always a faint sense of like fog rolling on the grounds. The actual road is relatively clear at the moment. Go ahead and make a. What is it you're trying to glean, effectively?
I'm essentially trying to see, like, is there anything like different from from the distance than there was when we first sort of arrived in this area? Like, is there any like smoke, fire, any of that kind of thing? Any sort of
Go ahead and
signs
make
that there
a.
may be some kind of destruction?
Yeah, I'll say perception or survival. Kind of falls between those two.
Good at both.
Yeah, I mean, from this distance, I mean, you can still see the kind of the darkening of the clouds. They kind of, it's not so much that they darken necessarily, because they do, but they get more dense and kind of dip down ever so slightly, almost like where the hill mounds up. The clouds almost pull down ever so slightly to culminate almost a focal point, and you do see. Again, although it's a couple of miles away, you do see the occasional sort of flash of shock sort of lightning. The rumble it does occasionally get through, but again during a fight of that nature, your senses are focused so much on the here and now that even when you are running away from Yester Hill, the sound of the thunder and lightning very quickly dissipated from your minds as the blood and the sound of just the blood pumping in your ears was what replaced it. So you can see the flashes off in the distance. You can see the clouds off in that way. They don't seem to have changed. You glean that much. You don't see anyone on because the pathway, whilst narrowish, and there are a few trees here and there sort of sprouting out along the pathway. It is clear enough, at least for the next, say, half mile to 3/4 of a mile before it bends towards Yester Hill, that you can see in that general area. Again, there might be someone there, but you don't see anyone. You scan it for a good sort of half a minute or so, as you're just watching and standing silently as this whole thing takes place. As Ismark's revealed something that doesn't really catch your interest, and you're immediately focused on the beyond that. You don't see anyone. And just hear the distant kind of breeze pushing through the trees, and maybe the odd errant kind of animal sound off in the far distance, like a howl, but it is distant. It is you get the sense that it's far enough away that it's not drawn in by whatever's happened here.
I mean, what is the best case scenario we're looking at here? He's gone and he's, torn asunder to those entire things. Even on that stage, he's probably taken Irina with her. The only reason we're going back now is for the magic seeds, and as much as I want that, to risk facing him again, to face his wrath, and even not to face all those other things if it's not the case. Right, you are trying.
Thanks for that contribution, Trent.
I can't help but think about that voice. Spoke out,
Well,
but you're right. We shouldn't return. I'm not too badly off, but he sort of glances around, looking. I know you've been pumping out cure wounds, so I'm not quite sure of your exact health state and whatnot. But everyone's got their fair share of being hurt and licked here, and his eyes pass across Gaza, and despite your relative conflict, even if it is very much on the side, sort of glances across and goes, "You look hurt, Gaza, and the rest of us haven't fared much better."
Our intention was to leave here and see what's happened to her, but none of us expected this.
And Zadie, you get, without him sort of breaking eye contact, sort of, or looking around the group, but sort of, his verbiage just seems directed towards Gaza in a way. You feel a separate message, seemingly only sent to you. You just like, not necessarily begrudgingly, but sort of almost like through gritted teeth, as most of his messages seem to sound since he's lost his mouth. Just like a thank you, just to you, Zadie.
I can't talk back to him in my head.
I don't think. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I believe it is a
Like
kind of
a
a one-way. Yeah, it's like a one-way messaging system.
I will just give him a polite nod.
Yeah, he's not really necessarily looking in your direction, but the next time you sort of you see him look over, you sort of just give him that an understanding kind of silent acceptance. So what are you guys doing as you stand around, having doled out a bit of healing and discussed this, as you stand on the road, rain watching the horizon? Where are you heading?
I'm going to start taking a few steps back to the winery.
And Trundle will, if needed, will help carry Ismark.
Is there any metal scraps on Ismark or off of Ismark?
There is a helmet.
I want to take the helmet.
It's like plated metal. It could be broken down for sure. Your tinkering tools are designed to kind of do that. It would take some time, and it would be loud and that kind of thing. And he is wearing, effectively, let me just double check. It's either it's half plate, so or it's either half plate or splint. I mean, AC is 17, listed as half plate. I need to think about it. But either way, yes, there is a lot of metal on his armor. However, unlike say Guz's chainmail, Zadie's chainmail as well, or Trundle's scale mail. There doesn't appear to be like a obvious clasps where it can be just taken off. You reckon you could get him out of it, but it would take a while. You could damage the body underneath, and You know, like it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. The helmet is already off. That you can, you know, as long as you have a hot enough source, you could potentially melt that down or strip it apart and try and do something with it. The rest of it would be quite difficult to take apart. You think you'd need to spend some more time with it, examining it and weighing up what you'd have to do to take it off. Some bits perhaps easier than others. Maybe the legs or the boots might come off easier than, say, the chest plate or the arm braces, those kind of things. Anyway, there is metal there. It's potential to get it. Cool.
Right.
And unless anyone protests, you make your way at a relative pace as Rain steps up and Trundle walks along, sort of alongside him, ahead of the group, walking in relative silence, but making your way back towards the winery. Amir,
carrying Ismark, right?
Yeah, I mean, Trundle's happy to do so. You know, it's not like he seemed to have any particular attachment to Ismark, but just out of, you know, understanding that you guys want to bury him, and he kind of agrees.
Does the axe look interesting at all?
I mean, if you don't have any kind of, you know, way of, say, detecting magic or identifying it, it looks, you know, it's a decent axe, but you need to either spend a bit of time to see if there is any connection to it, or have some kind of way of seeing if there is magic emanating from it. But
I
it
can
looks
detect magic, but I can't detect it today, so I'll take it.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a hefty axe, and it's a kind of a, in terms of scale, it's not a great axe. It's kind of it's a battle axe, can be wielded with one or two hands. Like right off the bat, you know
drop
that.
it.
Okay, all right. Cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. No, totally. Yeah, it has sort of black wraps around the handles and a bit of engraving, but nothing. It's a well made, but kind of sturdy. It's not necessarily. Doesn't scream like, holy shit, this is from the craftsman of Dermageddon. It's like it's an axe. It's pretty nice, but sure, you heft it, and it's just a little bit too light for your liking. Kind of just throw it to one side, and it just lands in the earth again because it fell, and you sort of had to pull it out and then just almost wedge it back in the same place. And you make your way back to the winery. Again, at this point, it seems like they've taken out. It's only been a couple of hours, but since you sort of rested, left, and came back, or coming back now, they've sort of removed one of the doors that was there. Again, it was busted beyond repair. The other one is sort of more repairable, but they've removed one of the doors. And as you return back in again, the family greet you as they have done in the past. And again, there's like sort of like a look of like confusion as the fact that you left maybe 45 minutes ago, and you look like shit again in the same day. It's like early afternoon right now.
I don't know how we.
Like not even early. It's like just beyond midday. And you guys look like shit for the second time. Some of your clothes, like, genuinely, you know, shortened or damaged from the effect. Thankfully, a lot of you, thankfully now, at the time it probably hurt a lot, thankfully a lot of you wear a fair bit of metal, which doesn't, despite the heat of the fireball, doesn't melt from the impact. But the leathers have been sort of roasted slightly, dried, cracked. Still functional, but for an aesthetic, they've taken a beating. And Elvira sort of looks worried and just sort of says, "What happened to you this time? I'm glad you've all made it back at least."
Just another day in Barovia.
Like you see him almost like you reckon that in another moment he would have maybe laughed at that, but he looks at you all, and he's sort of like there's a grave look across his aged face. His sort of his beard almost like furrow. You know, he's got his hand sort of pulling down his beard a bit. Go on. And he calls out to some of the others, and they start preparing more food for lunch. You know, to prepare for you guys. And yeah, like what are you guys doing? Are you taking another?
I mean,
how do we feel? Sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
well, we need to ask them if it's okay for us to put his mark somewhere.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got an idea
We
for that.
stashed
To be honest.
Oh, by the way, there's the dead body with you. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Like again, unless you bring it into the house,
Weekend at Birdie
there's sort of like a I think they. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, just head lolled for. Just put the helmet back on. Dunk, dunk. He's a knight.
Yeah. Where's his horse?
Pile of bones. Yeah, no. For ease of purpose, if you leave them outside, but explain who there is. They. Like, if you bring them in, there'll definitely be a reaction to, like, what the fuck is this? Like, not in, like, a get out, but, like, who is this? Why is this?
Leave him out, then.
Sure. But you get the sense without, bringing him inside, that bringing a dead body inside with, like, a whole family is a bit weird. So, Rain.
I just want to ask him. Does he have an empty barrel available?
I'm not putting his rock in a barrel.
Keg or casket. Let me finish.
He looks at you quizzically before having the full context of this and just says,
We have plenty. Unfortunately, I think a lot of them will stay that way. So, if you
perhaps
you need some,
could take one with us.
if you need it for something, I think you've earned it. Yes, by all means, you may.
and he sort of leads you to the room, which, if you recall, in the main room there is a double set of doors that led inwards up to a spiral staircase. Trundle went through there. There's about 20 unused barrels, 20 empty barrels there, and next to it is the sort of Cooper's workshop, the barrel makers. And he gestures to it. In fact, despite his age, he seems to be in his probably late 60s to mid 70s. He is able still to heft one of these barrels and roll it onto its side and sort of roll it out for you without too much of a problem. And he'll take it round to I guess you take it outside if that's where you direct him.
I direct him there.
And seeing the body, he would probably have a bit of a surprise reaction, but wouldn't actually ask you anything about it. Just sometimes it's better to not ask questions.
Okay, great. I'll leave it there next to the body for now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you planning on doing with that?
There's a burial site in Krezuk. I think it's best he actually be buried somewhere where bodies are supposed to be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Barrel is so that we can get him past. Forgive me, I don't think coming in with wine and a dead body is not going to grant us many favors, but perhaps putting him in a barrel and keeping it for ourselves on the side will be fine enough. We have a wagon.
Rain.
Yes.
Go ahead and give me a history check if you don't mind.
Alright, give me some historicals. Where? Oh no, where is it?
It's under H. 19's pretty good. Weirdly enough, right? I think you may have made a check for it, and having not known who Irina was.
I did not know who Irina was.
Before you met her.
Nope.
After, and again, this is assuming information is shared, once the body is found, and there's maybe a slight reaction to it, and people explain.
I heard them, but I didn't ask.
Yes, sure, but you would have heard this discussion, perhaps. The name Ismark Kolyanovich does link to you, like, you've never been to the village of Barovia, but the name Kolyanovich, at least, in your reading, in your time spent here, despite not being, a traveller in this land, and the land being as it is, the name does ring to you as, you're at least aware of the burgomaster of this village, of Valaki, and of Barovia. And the Kolyanovich name at least has, it's a far-flung name. That's about all it is to you, a name. But you are aware of the kind of link to that, but not necessarily beyond, like, whether or not he was the burgomaster or anything to that effect. But from that information, you would be aware just about of roughly who he was and where he came from in this land. That he was a native and, around your age, maybe a little bit older.
Okay.
Anyway, just sort of want to throw that out there. So.
We met him by helping him bury his dad. We should really... For normal circumstances, he'd want to be buried there.
This time a luxury you could afford.
I mean, walking 5 minutes in any direction seems can't
trouble.
imagine we can get him there safely.
I think he'd rather us be safe than anything else. He was that sort of person.
And
We can...
This
Sorry,
is
go on.
no. I mean, the voice sort of cuts in partway into the conversation.
this is not exactly a normal situation. If you don't mind me saying.
And he sort of just looks. You get the sense there's almost like a.
The church here is
glum.
Morning Lord, right? So, that was what he worshipped in Barovia, so...
Maybe we could... well, maybe we could take something of his back to Barovia and bury it there. We can take his body to Kresik and bury that there, but he can have something of himself back in his hometown as well. Maybe that's the best we can do.
It's a real good idea. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll let him rest tonight and decide what we're gonna do in the morning.
I mean, it's like
Um,
1 a.m.
after-
Sorry, 1 p.m. ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not up to doing much else today.
I'm happy to help with the repairs if it fast forwards the day. I agree.
Well, I'd like to spend the night in my own home. It's all the same with you. There's beds available should you require a much comfier night's rest.
How about we take a breather and then, well, if these guys are ready, we can get on the way to Kresik.
I like the sound of that.
Okay, that sounds good. Brain, I meant to tell you earlier. I don't know if it's any use to you. I don't think you'd use it often, but I actually have a crossbow I don't use. Just if you want that as backup for whatever.
Do you have bolts, ammunition, perhaps?
I do, yeah.
Sure. Why not? Another weapon to my arsenal.
I love the idea
Who
of this.
knows?
Yeah.
I'll take it back to the workshop.
It's
and
a
make few
ranged weapon.
modifications.
It's literally
No. I just love. I love the idea that it's like this is arising after like you've seen him like his guns sort of go ping ping and just break, and then it's just like it's almost like there's like been a bad sexual performance in bed, and you're like, no, it's okay, you can try this, it'll work, it'll be fine, and everything, and it's just like,
Let's not discuss.
yeah. sorry, Cornelius.
The
Sorry.
plate of little Cornelius.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, Ray, it does sort of dawn on you after this kind of experience that you're like on the way back, you kind of it kind of clicks with you when you think about it that your connection to your owl was severed around the time that explosion went off. Again, you saw it happen in front of you. Events quickly unfolded that kind of made you not have to think about it too much, and it kind of has come back to you on the way back that it's gone.
What's the daughter's name again?
Stefania.
Stefania. I'm gonna wander off and see if I can find her.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too hard if you ask, anyone else, they'll sort of point you in the direction. And she's actually looking after the kids at this point in time. The younger ones, and she, just there gently rocking the cot of the youngest one in the main master bedroom. There's just the cot sort of off to the side of the double beds. And as you sort of come over, she turns and sort of looks at you. Can I help?
Hi. Yes, I wondered you managed to scrounge together some charcoal and some incense. I don't suppose you'd be able to get any more. No.
Yeah, she like. I don't think so. That was the last of our.
No, that's
It's
fine.
not something
I
we
just...
have on regular occasion, and like I said, Elvir doesn't like it burning in the house. She goes and finds like maybe 1 gold worth of incense. It's like a couple of sticks. Again, because of the nature of it, it's like 10 gold of incense strikes me as like loads of sticks. Like you're sitting there with like 30 sticks of incense burning and crumbling like fine charcoal. It's all for kind of the price point, but yeah, you
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah,
I'd
but-
like yours, please.
yeah, but you yeah,
Falling on my lap, so I'm fucked.
you idiot. It's so standard there.
Well, in that case, my friends and I are going to take a quick rest while we're waiting to set off for Kresik. Would you mind doing some of your herbal stuff for us again?
Unfortunately, that's not how the feat works.
Is it not?
It is only one
didn't-
spiral long rest that I can.
It's okay.
Like she like replenishes the burnt off bandages and stuff, but it doesn't give you any, you know, and like some of the plants, but it doesn't give you any additional effect. I mean, she healed you for like a lot, like fuck.
The maximum she could do. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know, it was 15 hit points per person. It was bananas, which is amazing. You know, like totally, like it's a feat, and it kind of feeds into
Yeah.
our character a bit. So, but yeah, you can't. Okay, this is taking. Yeah, so yeah, you can't regain.
that's fine.
Yeah, she's down on her luck.
Okay. No, you're busy with the little ones anyway. But thank you. It was really great. It probably saved our lives.
She looks almost like embarrassed, or like, you know, like having that kind of much pressure on just doing something that she's skilled at. You know, like there's almost like a shying away from that responsibility in a way. But she sort of smiles and says it's nothing really. It's just a few herbs, and you know, you get bored when you're not too interested in wine. And there's not a lot to do here, so. But you're welcome. I will have another look for some more incense or charcoal. But she sort of gives you that like knowing look of it's doubtful.
fine.
It's doubtful. Yeah.
Don't worry about it, honestly.
She said no. I will look, and but. You know, as you're about to leave, she sort of says, "No, this. If anything, what I did for you is just a repayment for, at least the start of repayment for you saving us and getting these horrible people out of here. So, I guess we're getting closer to even."
It's what we try and do, I guess.
She just kind of smiles, doesn't say anything else, and sort of awkwardly waits for you to leave. But like that's sort of like
Awkwardly wait for her to say something else.
fuck out. Yeah, no.
Okay,
So
bye-bye.
So yeah. She
Walk awkwardly, actually. Bye bye.
and unless there's anything else you guys want to do before the short rest, you can take another short rest if you so please.
No, I think that's
Yeah. So. Yeah, you take the short rest. Like I said, she searches around and finds. I'll say over the entire short rest. She doesn't obviously search for the full hour, but she finds about 2 golds worth of incense. So it lessens the amount you'll need in the future, but it's not enough, unfortunately, to cast anything. Again, yeah, Zadie, you hand over the mundane crossbow to Rain. Again, it's not in bad condition besides the fact like everything has been blasted by fire. But you know it's compared to the craftsmanship of at least one of your weapons, it's relatively rudimentary. You know, there's a bit of metal plating to secure the it's not like a string, whatever the I don't know what you call it, do you know the term? It doesn't matter. It's not important. Just the thing that fires the arrows, like that bow. So, but it's functional. So you got the crossbow, and we'll roll up any hit dice you need. Any other healing and whatnot coming in. And again, you are recovering anything you gain from a short rest. So second wind comes back. Action Surge comes back. Your Channel Divinity comes back, albeit after rolling hit dice, unfortunately. It's a bit shit in that regard.
Apparently just called string or cables. Is what you're
Really?
looking for.
Okay, yeah, okay. String. It just seems a bit weird to call it string when it's, cable sounds a bit more, I don't know, what I imagine a crossbow would be quite
Now
tall.
20 crossbow bullets.
So yeah, you rest up. Let me just roll up for Trundle. As Trundle is hurt as well, pretty badly actually, because he was down until you got him back up. So
I tried.
no, that's not a complaint. That is not a complaint.
He's alive. That's
You
good.
should be. I rolled the worst healing possible ever.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, no. I think you rolled a 2 in there. There's a 1 and a 2, or 2 and a 3, or something.
No, it was.
I thought it was 1, 1, 2, and then like a.
Yeah, I think it was 1, 1, 2.
Yeah, so it could have technically been worse. Don't count chickens before their eggs. These are some really good hit dice rolls, guys.
Wow.
I mean, and also trying to
Not
roll like an 8, 9, 10, 9 before. Oh, no, and then I counted one of them out. And he's rolled another 10 and a 9, I think. So it's kind of bananas. Who needs that item that lets you heal for like double your thingies? I can't remember what it's called. It's like a pendant. 25, 43.
We did.
He's still like a little ways off his max, but that being said, he's feeling fairly good in comparison. So you finish up your short rest. Some bandages are reapplied, the ones that are still attached and haven't been burnt off. They find some salves put together to help cool the burn slightly, and you do hit dicey stuff, because apparently hit dice are just a thing that have to exist to keep people healthy, but they're really hard contextually. So your rest finishes up, and you are again, for the third time I suppose, finishing a rest in this winery. And what would you like to do, guys?
Put the body in the casket, pack it on the wagon, and let's get her moving.
Yeah, so around this time, it's about 1:30. You know the journey to Kresik, having done it yourselves, is maybe with a wagon and horses. Again, it's not a fast wagon. You imagine it'll be about the same pace as it would be on foot normally.
Guys, I could explode these horses like.
These ones have flesh and bones, but they're also like pack horses, whereas that war horse as well. Also, if you hadn't done that, if you hadn't focused the horse down, you would have been fucked. Just as a note, I'll talk to you about it afterwards, guys. But like
We did well. Well done.
We all coordinated that and went like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, put it like this: if it had rolled higher in initiative, it would have been bad for you guys. But it was nat 1, so. Hey, but that's the way it goes. So
That one's black one.
Yeah, and you guys use some really good tools to avoid getting fucked up by it, as well as the fact that they missed 3 times on Zeddy. But that's the dice. Right? So as you load up the cart, you take the extra barrel again. The cart already was loaded up with 3 barrels. 3 barrels of.
Yeah, I'm so unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, the barrel you've got isn't one of the. It's not quite as big as these ones. Like. You find one that's slightly smaller, effectively, and are able to stack it on the back of the wagon, like on the kind of the back
It's
step.
distinctly standing out, so we know which one it is.
Oh well, it's also like open topped. So, they do need to sort of bang down the top and seal the barrel if they were to want to use it for storage. So yeah, at the moment there is a top that comes with it, but it's not attached, and you're having to stand the barrels up straight. Yeah.
Roughly. Sorry.
Every time this wagon goes like into a divot or over a bump, I'm just going to be clinging to like my holy symbol and just being like, oh my god, Pello, forgive me.
Have you already put the body?
This is the worst.
Have you already put the body in the barrel?
The body's now in the barrel.
Have you put the lid on? Like, not nailed it shut, but
I want the lid on.
Okay.
Someone assist me. I'm not that strong.
Although he's wearing armor, I'm going to say, just because I don't want to have to get into the semantics of this, you're able to get the body inside the barrel, put the lid on top of it without it like bulging out or anything, like without forcing or bending or breaking the body. It's a big barrel. It carries a lot of wine, all things considered. But the 3 barrels that are in there that are full are all for purple grape mash. It's the cheapest wine, but it's all they had loaded up in the barrels, and due to the fact that they've tested one of the casks of wine. And it seems to have been poisoned, and the indication is that the others may well be too. They haven't yet tested them, but they're kind of apprehensive to do so.
We didn't do the purifying. Oh, we'll do that tomorrow.
I was going to say, I will speak to them before we go. Saying, how far away roughly is Kresik to this place?
It's about 2.5 hours. I'd say 3 hours maybe. Yeah, just because of the route you had to take. It's sort of, you previously went up to Kresik, which is about 4 hours from Vallaki, and then down, which is about 2.5. So I'd say 2.5 with the cart moving at a normal pace.
Because my only other suggestion would be that we bring the quote-unquote poisoned wine, but I know that if we try and bring poisoned wine into a city, they're going to go, oh, we want to drink it now, and we'll go,
Well,
drink it now.
the cart is pretty much full in terms of its capacity.
I meant instead of.
Right, I see. Well, like, and you could totally spend some time decanting, but it would take some time, and the actual barrels, the big barrels, the vats, effectively, that have been at least one of them has been tainted, would take some time to distill into multiple barrels. It's a big barrel. It contains because 3 of the 4 barrels are full. The other one is cracked and was filled with twig blights. The 3 that are full could contain, I don't know the exact quantities, but I'm going to go ahead and say something like 6 barrels of these size barrels of wine. So, there is still a decent quantity, but with the fact that none's gone out in a while and this stuff's tainted and there's nothing more to come beyond what's grown out there, which isn't huge. Their calculations of a couple of months maybe is pretty accurate. So you load up the cart with the 4th barrel, and there's enough.
I guess on the way out we'd say for them to keep the poison stuff, and we'll be back in a day or so, or a few days.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna say, Guz, are you not pursuing that at all? Because you said you were gonna go.
I mean, the idea is, I don't think there's a situation, me probably Harry thinking more than Guz's intelligence here, going, I think if we come in with poisoned wine, being like, hey, we brought wine, but you can't drink it till tomorrow, they'll be like, we've been waiting far too long, give us some fucking wine. We'll be like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, plus the idea of being like, hey, it's poisoned, but we'll fix it, but tomorrow might set off alarm bells. Like, collective party intelligence, I'll give you that. You are... Yeah, sure. So, and plus the time you'd have to add on to that. Just, you could do it before sundown, but... so, loading the thing up, Elvir sort of hovers for a while and he sort of looks at you and says, like, collectively, says, no, I would usually take this myself, but if you're capable, and you see him, like, mulling it over, he says, would you prefer to take this yourself, sir? Would you like us to come along? We will need to drop off some at Kresik and more at Vallaki, and as much as it pains me to say it, I think I am overdue a visit to my son.
Your son?
He runs the tavern in Vallaki.
Don't kill him. It's like 50-50 he was about to say Yevgeny then.
Your coat, Gaza, is awfully familiar. No, he runs the tavern, the Blue Water Inn in Vallaki.
We stayed there for a few days. He's real nice.
Nice, yes.
Your wine's quite popular there.
He's a disappointment, but nonetheless, he's my son, and he distributes is a very hard word. This wine, so what must be done must be done. But I will come with you.
You're more than welcome to.
I hope so. This is my wine.
Of course.
How are you all feeling?
He just sort of scans an eye across all of you.
Lucky to be alive.
Great. Like, thumbs just bent out of shape. It's charred. No fingernails. Yeah. I mean,
You got soot marks all over.
yeah. You've had like a short rest, and it's just like not done much. No, you're all looking iffy, but better than you were an hour ago. And as he sort of gets up on the front of the cart, there is enough space for someone else to sit if you so choose. On the front of the cart, there's not much space on the rest of the cart besides maybe a back step to hang on, and the rest of you will be, walking. But it's not a fast cart. This isn't like a chariot or whatever. This isn't designed to go at any great speed. It is designed to get the wine there without losing the wine. So as he climbs up and sort of gets on the horse, or gets on the seat and grabs the reins, he cracks them. He sort of waves goodbye to a couple of the family members who are there, and you see up in the window a couple of the kids appearing out as well as through the misted windows and the curtains, just looking out as you start to make your way down the dirt track out of the winery. Now you make your way, and as you get about half a mile away. No, I'm kidding. But you would expect it to be about as you get about half a mile away, something attacks you. But no, interestingly enough, you journey whilst all keeping on watch. Or at least those of you that are perhaps worried of such an occurrence. But you make it up to the point at which the dirt track becomes more of an established road, and further still, you reach the large stone bridge that stretches over the as you learn today that it is called the Raven River, as opposed to the River Ivlis on the other side of here. The Raven River, you would probably know it's the Raven River, to be fair, Rain, but nonetheless, as you pass over it. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you just didn't mention it to the others, and Elvia sort of points out to you that it's the Raven River. Yeah. But as you bank over the bridge, you get that familiar distant view of the pinprick tower, sort of in that, surrounded by water, in the kind of foggy Lake Baratok, to your northeast, as you journey onwards. And as you journey on for another hour or so, as the woods break open and you see the hills rising up to the north, you see the walled settlement of Kresik, which for some reason I haven't put the name on the map, but you have the S, you have the name now. And as you sort of roll up towards the front, the rising slant up to the gatehouse, I will move you over to that map. Where is it? That's not it. Where is it? Kresik. God, it's so far away. There's so many fucking maps. So I say that like it's a bad thing. There's so many maps. It's awesome. But and as you arrive, you wind up the pathway towards the front gate and stop a mere 30 feet or so. And similarly to last time, you see a couple of guards step out. However, you see, from a distance, not able to hear them, you see both of their heads sort of turn back, call out, and you see, unlike before where a couple of guards appeared, 4 or 6 guards appear and look down, and you see them talking. It's hard to tell quite what the commotion is from a distance, but no arrows are drawn from the 2 that seem to be more well armed for range. They all have sort of arrows stuck in their back. It doesn't seem to be hostile besides the sheer number of guards that have arrived. And you see them kind of filter off as well and disappear away from the wall, which for you, Rain, would know that there are occasional ladders that lead down, but there's also small staircases in the periodic towers, especially these 2 guard towers. So you see a couple of them enter and disappear away, probably down into the village. And as you approach again, you almost hear a voice of excitement. As Davian, the guy who was there previously, is on guard at the moment, and he calls out, he says, "Elvir, I see you are laden with goods." And Elvir just sort of looks up and, without really cracking a smile, but sort of looking up gruffly, goes, "Open the gate, if you don't mind. These lot have had a long day, and without them this wine would not be here." And Davian sort of looks across, catches your eye, again, Rain, just sort of...
I just give him just a nod, but there's a smile behind the slightly battered face of mine.
Yeah, he gives you that kind of nod, and he leans back and says, "Open the gates." And you hear the loud creaking of chains sort of clinking as the gates swing open slowly but surely. And you actually you see a note, the rest of you all sort of start to move in. And Rain, you just see David catch your eye, and he just sort of gives you a sort of pointing down into the inside of the place. He sort of gestures, and you see him disappear into the tower, and make his way down to the guards, the gates here effectively. And the gates swing open. You see a couple of guards flanking, and there seems to be almost a slight congregation of people who have arrived here. Not locals necessarily, mainly these guards that have grouped up, and there is a palpable look of almost excitement on some of their faces. Some of them look tired, some of them look vacant, but there's a few of them at least who, seeing this wine being delivered, have a look of, dare I say it, almost joy. There's a definite hesitation there, and there's an understanding that they will not be able to access it right here. They don't look like they're going to.
Can't drink it till tomorrow. So.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, we poisoned it. I mean, it's poisoned now. But you get the sense that they're almost hovering just like to see your arrival. There are still looks in your direction. You look battered. You all are not human. Well, not all, but you are mainly not human, and have distinctive features to say otherwise. And although the Martikov family were willing to look past that quite quickly, the locals here do have a sort of certain sense of. You definitely catch some people watching off in the distance, either through windows or through the tree line, just working away at their at small patches of land where they're just digging the ground, scattering seeds, and you sort of they catch your eye and they kind of sit up and lean on their trowels and whatnot, or lean on their pitchforks, just sort of looking with like a relative absent-mindedness, but there's still like eyes are on you guys as you make your way into the town, and the cart is led to this sort of central area, this open area. It's not so much a town square, it's just an opening where all of the paths seem to converge, and there are a few houses that centralize around here. So there's small areas where you see a few of the kids running about, but they get shooed away by a couple of the guards that seem to be moving in with this, and they gesture, and Elvir, seemingly knowing what he's doing, brings the cart up alongside one of the buildings in Kresik. And as he does so, and he sort of gestures and dismounts and moves around to the back, you have the barrel of containing a body at sort of hang on one side of the other three, and it is upright. What are you doing with it at this point in time? Because Elvir sort of makes his way around to the back and starts to unbuckle unlock the way to effectively.
I want to.
Roll this barrels off.
Our barrel.
I
Our special barrel.
I want to take.
Yeah.
Is Mark Reserve?
Yeah, it is smaller. It is a little bit smaller than the others. To be fair, like you are able to move it off. There.
Right.
Again, you're not going to get too many prying eyes in that direction. You have the lid on it and all that kind of thing. And although
I just want to, I want to take one of these. Whoever's going to carry it or assist me, I want to take them to my homestead, essentially.
Sure. I mean, as you're all sort of lingering there, and you load the barrel down, you sort of which direction you're heading in, sort of to the western side of town, of the village. You see as Davian is sort of lurking behind, and he sort of as he ignoring the kind of barrel thing because it has no relevance to him really. He sort of gestures for you to come over to him. Like it seems to be directed, obviously, just at you, Rain.
What did you say? Sorry.
The Davian the
went
guard.
over my head.
Oh, that's right. The Davian the guards have made his way up and is sort of gestured for you to come to him.
I'll just take a step on over.
Yeah, he just sort of looks and says, "Take a walk with me if you don't mind."
Yeah, sure. I will just tell who came with me for the barrel.
I mean, I definitely did. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think so.
Zadie's hand is like planted on the top of it.
I direct you in the general direction, sort of like give you a rough description of where it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's this is all out in the open relatively, and the people who were there when you first initially came in, a couple have trickled along. The guards have sort of just moved with you, almost as like a ceremonial thing, if anything, as well as maybe an interest to get an early cup of wine. But it's sort of led around here, and he sort of just says, "Let's take a walk if you don't mind. Don't worry, it's nothing. You're not in trouble. But
Of course.
Your father is missing. So is your mother. We haven't seen anyone. I'm sorry, we haven't seen anyone enter or leave your home since you headed off.
I think that's okay, really.
And
After mother left, father was never quite himself anyway. It's likely he probably went looking for her. I'm not sure myself. I woke up one morning, he was gone. And I just figured he did the same thing mother did, and, well, no one saw her leave either.
go ahead and make a deception check.
Okay. Where the hell's my character sheet? There it is, I closed.
The perfect deception. So-
Well, it's like the two green numbers, and so I got several, and I was like, oh my god, he rolled
Yeah.
really well again. It's just
Yeah,
like,
same.
Oh my god!
Oh
You know, somehow there was a part of me that was screaming, "This is gonna be a nat one."
Oh yeah, I had to
And
jinx
I
it as
knew
well.
it. I knew it. I knew it was coming. I fucking knew it.
So as you say it, like your recounting of this, and it just seems to like maybe not quite add up and whatnot. There's sort of like a nod, but there's almost like a sideways glance, and he moves on beyond the topic, but you get that kind of almost lingering sense that he maybe knows a little bit more, or like suspects a little bit more than what you've suggested, like in terms of information. He goes, your sister hasn't been seen either, but
Now that I do like sigh. I expected her to come back once I made my way here. That's
He's sort of-
disappointing.
yeah, he looks-
outside the walls.
he looks like
I have a
supposing-
genuine look of like actual concern on my face.
Yeah, there's like he sort of raises his eyebrow and says, "Apologies, I did not know she left as well with you."
No, yeah, we split for a while, but not for long, and I thought she was. You know, it doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
She's no, it's okay. She's capable. I think she'll be okay. She'll come back when she wants to. Maybe she's off to find mother. I tried to tell her not to, but
He nods his head so like relatively quickly, as if to sort of say like, yeah, I get it. I just thought I'd kind of he just looks at you and goes, I just thought I'd let you know.
thank you.
I don't think anyone has been in your house either.
Okay.
I trust you still have the keys.
Will she be able to get back in if she's lingering on the outside by any chance?
You see him like weigh it up a bit. Look, if I am on guard, I will see what I can do, but no promises.
Yeah, of course, no promises, but please, if you do see her, let me know.
I trust.
I have
I will leave a message.
things-
I will leave a message in your house
Thank you.
if you're not about, of course. Anyway, we must get to this. I see you have.
Yes, of course. We brought a shipment of wine. I know you're all desperate for a drink.
And then there's like a look of like genuine sort of yearning of like. That's rare you get like a true, honest like reaction from anyone, and the look of his eyes sort of there's almost like a weight drops in him as you say it.
Yeah.
So he just sort of goes, oh, like he hadn't really thought about it until you mentioned it, and then it was like, oh shit. Yeah. Well, thank you. And I've already told the Burgermeister that, well, you said you were going to get wine. I made him no promises, but it might bring him out of his,
Yeah,
his state.
that's a sad state of affairs.
He's not been the same since Ilya was taken from him. But his wife is holding it together for him. And he kind of fades off in the like the moment in a way. But you walk back sort of it's a more of almost like just a little loop to have a little bit of a conversation. And he sort of says, go on, I must get back to my post. And it's just like he gives you that kind of like pat on the back from like a acquaintancey maybe friend. You're not quite sure if it's just from the fact that you kind of know each other, but also from the you've brought wine. But like there's definitely like almost like a sense that maybe he does care a bit. You're not sure per se, but like you know him from before. He's not a bad guy. He's just he's an ordinary guy. But yeah, he makes his way back to the gate, and you're able to rejoin the others as Trundle and Trundle starts to like go to reach the barrel, and like Zadie, I imagine you're sort of there, like making sure that nothing. Effectively, he's sort of like no, I've got it, and just makes his way up with his bandana mask on to cover his lack of a mouth, and there's like a mouthless and an eyeless person trying to like hold the barrel shut. It's like a bit of a clusterfuck, but as you're sort of like not quite sure where to go, Rain rejoins with you, and you leave the wine with Elvir, and he sort of says, I would like to speak to you before I go, but take your time. I will and he sort of like asks you for directions to your place, just to pop by before he leaves.
Okay. I give him directions, basically.
And I will be heading on from here to Valaki to drop off the last of the wine. If any of you are looking to escort me, that would be very welcome. But I'm sure I will be able to handle it on my own, as long as I get out of here relatively sharpish. Thank you for your help either way, and you're welcome at the winery at any time. And he sort of goes around and gives you all like that kind of claspy, two-handed handshake that, again, his age still like hides a bit of his like physical strength. You know, it seems like he's probably quite strapping in his
Got
youth.
that farmer's strength.
Yeah, a little bit. But you can definitely feel the kind of the age, but at the same time there's still a bit of power in there. And he just sort of moves on and goes back to dealing with the wines. And Rain, you are effectively your group's guide at this point in time. So are you heading straight to your...
Okay, yeah, I take them all straight back to my home.
Okay, so you follow the...
Yeah. Imagine it's locked. I have the key, right? I think.
Yeah,
do we have keys in this place? I mean, I think we do.
You do. And you do indeed still have the key. So as you make your way sort of back round to the relatively humble abode that you, that you resided at until you left. You make your way back around the sort of the curved road and arrive at your house. This small one, sort of tucked away on the inside loop of Kresik, as again the rest of you sort of still taking this place in. It's like as you walk past the streets, there are small outside cages for around some of the houses where you see chickens being kept, and a couple more where there's like an open area where at least during some parts of the year you imagine pigs are kept, but you can see a couple about. Some are led inside and whatnot. Some small crops are being grown, and there are trees like healthily growing trees within the center of this town. As you move through, you get a few glances. Again, there's people about. This isn't a huge town or a village even, but the one thing that you constantly sort of your eyes are drawn to every so often is this kind of the almost edificial rising of the mound to the east, and on top of it this stone wall surrounding these sort of this again, it isn't abbey. There's no hiding that or anything, but just the two larger sort of rooftops of it. This grandiose structure amongst, sits nestled atop this rooftop around otherwise a relatively mundane village. But as you lead them to the front of your house, you arrive back at your home. It's dark. The windows are dark. The door is shut, locked, you imagine. And there's nothing else about, just the house. And you all come up to this house again. It's a single story. Some of the other buildings you've been past are a little bit larger, a little bit more active, maybe a little bit less run down. This isn't massively run down, but it's just there's definitely signs that it probably could have done with a bit of better care, a bit of repair and maintenance over the years. The grass and the modest garden that surrounds it is overgrown in one place and dead in another. And there's beyond that, there's just sort of a patch of earthy ground with, I guess there wouldn't be anything there, just a fence surrounding it. Rain, at the party, but Rain at this point, I suppose, in time.
I just walk up to the front door, I unlock it, and I just turn to everyone, just say, well, it's a bit neglected, but it's home at least, and we can recuperate here for a few days, perhaps. Take a breather.
Mm-hmm.
Just wipe a bit of like the charredness off my face.
Yeah. You've cleaned yourself up a little bit, but yeah, there's still like finding little patches of ash and soot behind your ears. And as you step open into the house, there's like a weirdly boring comfort blanket for you in a way. Like stepping back inside the walls of this town mean whatever they mean to you. I can't tell you what they mean to you and what to you, Rain. But stepping inside the house, there's like an awkward sense of comfort in a weird way. It's almost beyond description. But as you step inside and the floor creaks under your foot, you you look around, you see the same sort of oil lamp sitting there that you've always seen on the sort of, there's like a little front tableau, and on the inside there's a couple of doors that lead off into various rooms in this relatively small floor plan house. But what would you like to do at this point? It's early to mid afternoon. I'd say it's maybe mid afternoon, 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Got another couple of hours of daylight at least, but.
I'm just gonna sort of invite everyone in. Just feel free to leave any of your things anywhere. I mean, there's some room. Feel free to pick a room. Although I do ask, please don't pick my room. I'd like to sleep in my own bed if that's all the same with you.
Yours, so.
Yeah.
I'll take them to the set of bedrooms.
Sure. So there are 4 doors that sort of lead off this main hallway. The hallway's narrow. There's no kind of cupboards leading off of it. There's one door at the end, and you understand that would probably lead, like that last door would be quite close to the edge of the property in terms of what you've seen from the outside. But the 4 doors that lead off, there's one like very, very simplistic sort of sitting room. It's a couple of chairs, scattering of books. They seem to be, like almost pulpy novels in a way that have dog-eared and have, been read multiple times. A fireplace that sits unlit, and sort of just a smattering of ashes at the bottom. Off the other side of the hall, there's a very small or a relatively tight kitchen, and inside there's another door that leads to effectively a chamber pot. It's a very simplistic bathroom. It would most likely be turfed outside more than any sort of flushing mechanism. But the kitchen is basic. There are no food supplies there. It's not like there are any canned goods to last, and the space to store them would be small. So as you, Rain, I imagine, would let you know off the bat, don't expect to find any food in there. But you have enough stuff on you at least to last a little bit. It's not interesting, but it'll get you by. And as you head down the hallway, the other 2 doors that are just slightly off ajar from each other, adjacent from each other. On the left, you find a cramped bedroom with 2 beds, one on either side of the room. Rain, this is your room, and a small writing desk jammed up against the window that's kind of frosted over. The glass is kind of a milky frost coloration to it, and a set of moth-eaten curtains. On the other side, there is a double bed. It is springy, kind of like it's almost spongy. Not quite springy. I think spongy is a better term. A stuffed mattress of straw, and again, this isn't a grand place, and mattresses aren't in plentiful supply. But it looks like it would function well enough for a bed for a night, comfortably. Better than the night's sleep you just had, at least for some of you, as you were kind of crammed into one room in the winery. That is the house effectively. There is the other door that has not been opened, but
I immediately sort of throw some of my things onto my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down for a moment, try and sweep up some of the glass on the floor, and just push it all to one side underneath the bed, out of the way. Try and make some walking room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's enough room to maneuver. Again, this house isn't maybe used to having bulky half-orcs and heavily armored individuals walking through it, especially not this many people. But there's enough room for you to kind of squeeze by each other in the hallway and stand in the room whilst being able to move around a bit and put things on the beds and whatnot. But it is tightly packed.
Make yourselves at home, I suppose.
If there's nothing to eat here, is there a shop somewhere in town?
Oh, sorry, I forget. I'm getting a little comfortable before I explain everything. No, it's more of a sharing is caring kind of deal around here. Everyone pitches in, everyone gets a piece of the pie. The only thing we can't do is wine. So, just sort of gesture to the outside, to the door. That's where we get that from.
So I can't go out and buy something to make supper, then?
Well, I'm afraid no. Maybe you could ask around. We did bring wine. I'm sure someone might be willing to give us something, or a little help here and there. These are nice folk, pleasant enough for Barovians at least.
Okay. Anyone want to go and knock on a few doors with me?
I mean, my suggestion would be see which doors need a little elbow grease, and then I'm sure you'll be able to, fill your stomach to its content.
I wanted to fill everyone's stomachs, so
Then you best be packing a lot of grease.
I got a lot
I'll
of
help
wine,
you.
so-
Ugh. I'll stand up and be on my way.
So you both sort of deciding what to do, set a few of your things aside to lighten your load for the first time in a while, and make your way outside where you go ahead and this is a tough one. So either you can both make separate charisma checks, or if you want to make one of you make charisma checks, a charisma check with advantage. I would
Quite charismatic.
Yeah, I'd say because of the nature of this as well, go ahead and make it it'd be like persuasion. I suppose you could use intimidation if you want, but
I'm
you
quite
understand.
persuasive.
Yes, I was gonna say just if you do choose to use intimidation, you understand what that might connotate. So go ahead and
I'm
make
not very intimidating.
fair enough. Well, go ahead and make a persuasion check with advantage then.
Oh, unless Rhea wants to roll as well.
No, you go with advantage.
Loaded into the paladin.
Yes, please.
No, totally fair. I'm not being
I'm also
snide.
wanting to ask around for incense and charcoal things as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, totally fine. I mean, that will probably have to wait until next session or next
Yes.
or a later time. As right now your priorities are food. You guys have spent a fair bit of time journeying today, as well as getting the crap kicked out of you, which does really make you hungry. So again, yeah, 19's pretty damn amazing. You go between a few houses, and again, at first you're sort of like not quite sure how to approach it because it's not something you've really done before in that nature. But it seems that people understand your plight. You say you're Rain, or you're here with Rain. You're a guest of his, and they're sort of like, there's a bit of like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. Like, what can we get you? And they provide you. It's pretty simple, but you get some milk. You get some like fresh juice as well, and in terms of foodstuffs, there's a bit of meat, lots of eggs, and some oats as well. Like lots of convenient, sensible things. This seems like it's a practicality but you have to go between several houses to get these. It seems like a couple of the nicer people or more talkative people point you in the direction, and they say if you want any water, they direct you towards the because you kind of make it clear. It's pretty clear that you're not from here. They point you in the direction of the lake the pond lakey thing to the north of the town. Yes, thank you. Which indicates that which they say is fresh, clean water. And I'll say without needing to make any sort of insight check, you glean is true. They point you in that direction if you are looking to get yourself some water to clean yourself or to drink. It is naturally there, and it takes you about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes of sort of wandering around, also just exploring the town a little bit, just observing everything from a distance as you see a couple of guards sort of moving along the walls as you move on by, and yeah, you return fairly laden with fresh goods. Again, a couple of people are thankful that they spotted you as the people who brought the wine, so they give you sort of stuff almost just to an extent that you weren't expecting, but you return with all the goods, and as you sort of settle back in.
Cool. Did Rain say he was cleaning glass? What was broken?
Did say it was.
I sorry. There was a mirror in the room that's sort of like half shattered.
Yes, that is true.
I
Well,
forgot the.
yeah,
It's all right.
No, that's all right. You're in your bedroom. That is, yeah.
As soon as we're back, I'm heading straight.
Okay, so I'll say like, oh, was someone in here? Do you think? And I'll go and help him. They're up.
I'm just gonna. Well, please be careful. But no, I must have knocked it over in my rush to leave, I suppose. Once Father was gone, I decided I may as well leave as well.
Okay.
But please feel free to take a bed or anything. Unpack your things, make yourself a home, rest easy.
Cool.
Can't
Well,
imagine.
so there's one room with 2 beds and one with a double bed.
Correct.
Okay, I'll put mine in the one room with the 2 beds.
Sure. Yeah. Rain has already put his stuff on one of the beds.
It's my bed.
Yep. And he sort of has staked his claim to it. They both look relatively simple. Probably
feel like
probably a little bit short
Tron-
for you, maybe, but you'll cope. You know, it's a bed.
Trundle and Guzza can share.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Trundle. To be
There'll be a
honest,
scythe in his
yeah.
forehead.
To be honest, Trundle's been a little bit on edge since arriving in this town, as being a person who's sort of wearing a bandana in a town of people who live in a walled settlement does seem to draw a bit more attention, even than perhaps being a half-orc. And as such, you know, there is he seems to have been a bit sort of like head down, keeping himself quiet, hasn't been, you know, sending out too many messages. But he'll sort of volunteer to rest in one of the other rooms, like the small reading room. And, you know, like, he does it maybe a little bit begrudgingly, but you get the sense there's also like, I don't want to share a bed with them. And those ones are taken, so he sort of just dumps his bag down in that room. And sort of, you see him kind of nudging through some of the books a little bit without, you know, with more of just like, there's things here, you know, I'm kind of interested in what they might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you again, Ted, as you help sort of clean up bits of the mirror and whatnot, again, quite sharp, and there's still little patches of it in the corners that seem to be sort of, you know, where some of it's fallen out, the rest has remained. But as you help sort of tidy it up, you end up with a pile of mirror glass. I don't know what you want to call it. It's slightly different from normal glass.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know what it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, and to expedite things slightly, as you arrive back, you cook up a meal with the goods that you have. Feel free to make a cooking utensils check, just to see if you can do anything good with the good foods that you've been given.
Yeah.
And as you settle in for the evening, unless you have anything that's really good.
Hey.
Well, maybe it's the
Yeah.
it's the better goods that you have to work with. You know, these are freshly cooked,
You're
freshly
welcome.
freshly acquired. There's like a big pile of root vegetables as well as, you know, potatoes, carrots, everything that you need. Yeah, exactly. You kind of cook up like a hearty meal that really sort of, you know, revitalizes everyone. Everyone can regain a hit point for the successful meal that you cook up in the evening.
Hey!
And as you sort of make it, as you know, although Trundle's kept himself a little bit, he has stoked up a small fire in the chimney that leads out of the drawing room, and it sort of does give us very slight, you know, it gives a warmth in that room. It's a little bit smoky, but it gives a slight warmth to the rest of the house as well. And as you again head to bed, unless you have anything else you're specifically wanting to do in the evening, or as you're sort of getting yourself prepared for the evening.
I mean, I feel like we should take Ismark out of the barrel.
Yeah, that's true. You have set the barrel.
You know what you would do? You can bury the Ismark.
Well, I don't want to bury him if we want to talk to him. Do we want to talk to him?
So the barrel's set outside at the moment, just at the
Yes,
front
it does.
door. Rain, you know that no one's going to poke around your business unless
Yeah.
they, you know, want trouble. So yeah, the barrel's sat outside, lid on, not fastened in or anything, but on at least.
Yeah.
So you decide what you want to. You can decide what you want to do with that.
I feel real bad bringing corpses into your house or near your house. Not what homes should be for.
Well, it's quite alright. I'd rather you not, but if you desperately need this, I suppose we can make do. Again, I'd really rather not, but if this is what you want to do, I mean, I suppose I can let it slide this one time, although please don't make a mess. I'm not quite sure what you want to do with it, so please don't make a mess.
I don't know either.
Make a mess, please take it outside when you're done, preferably bury it at night.
Are Ray and I still out at this point, I hope?
Yeah,
I mean,
you're still
I
out.
thought we were gonna bury him up at the church. What was the plan?
Well, the burial grounds are typically behind homes rather than actually up at the church. Unfortunately,
okay.
it doesn't provide any sort of ground. The church occupies most of the space at the top of the hill.
Yeah, you've never been up there, so you actually don't know quite
It's an
what
assumption.
exactly. Yeah, it's a fair assumption, but you're not quite sure for sure. But you look around, and I guess as as the others poke around, and you guys would see this, I mean, Guzzer and Rhea especially, you note that although you haven't had this conversation with Rain, that there are indeed burial plots behind most houses. They seem to house, simple headstones that sort of match in decor for each house. It seems that, people take care of their own dead. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a weird thing. It seems it's not the most strange thing, and it seems relatively normal. It seems controlled, and no one is like busy messing with them in any of the as you walk around the place. But yeah, I mean, and again, Sadie, that is something that can be done. People having burial plots behind their houses is not the strangest thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe if we dig the hole and put him in, and then just don't cover it up tonight.
Again,
That body moves in the. Oh.
again, I don't. It would be incredibly distasteful to leave a body out in the open without, even if there's just a hole in the ground. I'd rather we do it all in one sitting.
That's true. I just don't like leaving him in a barrel.
Then we can bury him.
But I can't talk to him until tomorrow. If we're gonna do that.
Sorry,
Can we-
normal
I don't know
normal
what I
accent
want
into.
to do.
Yeah. So can you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that, Harry?
I want to contest the idea of talking to this person, but if I'm not there, then I'll obviously be quiet.
Well, I mean, you know that it's on the cards, so it's definitely something you can in the future. But right now, yeah, you're not there. However, I'll say, as you're doing all the persuading, Rhea, go ahead and make a perception check whilst you're sort of out and about on your way back. There's sort of like a bit like loose time here. Like we've sort of gone, you've cooked a meal, but we're actually going back to before then.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, just yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, as you're going around the houses again, you sort of have to do. You get pointed in a few different directions. You don't catch a glimpse of him, but you hear as you're sort of dealing with one of the houses, sort of that you're around the back. You hear the sound of wagon wheels turning, and as you sort of come back around, you see that you see the very the back of the head of Elvir sort of cracking the reins on the now significantly deladen wagon with still one barrel sort of rested in the back of it. But the wagon sort of rolls out the front of the gates that sort of swing open, or like have swung open previously and are closed back over shortly after he leaves. And you sort of catch that happening, but not before. You kind of see that he's sort of left. However, as you guys return, and this is sort of like, again, slightly loose time, but as you return and you guys are having a conversation inside, you see resting, awkwardly enough, on top of the barrel, a small little, like, not even necessarily chest, but little wooden, I would say like a little wooden trinket box. Maybe yay big. Just resting on top of it is a small black feather.
I was sort of stopped with that sort of handful of eggs.
Yeah,
veg,
like
whatever,
sort of
and
racked
just-
up in a small wooden
because
box.
is that wasn't there before, was it?
Not to my knowledge.
I'll pile everything into Guz's arms and
Yeah, sort of like half down, but you're able to just lower your arms a bit, so like up to here.
don't drop those eggs.
This is like maybe like 5 meters from the front door, not even. Like you're like not even 5 meters, like
he's-
2 meters from the front
Yeah,
door.
basically turning into my pack horse for the moment. Yep. And yeah, have a look at the feather that's sitting on top.
So, raven feather.
Ooh. Raven feather.
It's otherwise a simple box, just plain
I'll
nondescript.
open it up.
You just creak it open, and inside is just a small, like, it's not even like a bottle more than a vial per se. Just resting in the center, sort of nestled on a little bit of sort of straw and hay. You pull it up, and again, it's corked. Fluid inside is, I'd say, loosely familiar. This is a potion of healing. And there's just a little sort of string hanging off of it that just sort of just has the initials EM on it.
EM. Ah. Okay. I think Elvira might have left it for us. The electron microscope. Exceeds all.
How did you know? Like, this is actually an erection manager potion, and just labeled shorthand.
A what manager?
Erection manager. That was entirely what I went for. It was a joke. But you.
Baramog could have used it.
So as you
That's our word.
as you
Oh my God.
as you take this vial, this potion, which you still need to distribute. You guys need to distribute your goods. Again,
really
this is
do.
currently in your possession, right? As you take this small box. The box has no material value. It's fine and can be used to store something of that sort of size, but is otherwise nondescript. And as you take it and go inside and cook the food, and you guys prep for a good evening, or an evening of taking it easy and having a point of almost security and safety within these walls. That's where we're gonna end the session for tonight. As you'll sort of get yourselves ready for bed. It'll be like next session will be just before you guys go to bed, I suppose.
Okay.
If there's anything you want to do, then like we'll do that next session because we're already a bit over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're in Kresik. You've delivered the wine.
Got
You've,
a body in a barrel that I don't know what
You've
to do.
taken a fucking licking, and you have a body in a barrel.
As you do.
Yeah,
There's
kudos.
a big moral dilemma of what to
Oh
do
my
with the
God.
barrel.
That is something we can deal with
God,
next
terrible.
Tuesday. So 8 days from now. Like we instead of getting 6, we have 8. So there's a slight downside of playing on a Monday instead of a normal Tuesday. But obviously vote for hero points, guys. But yeah, and thank you for those of you who stuck around during the off-peak D&D session, which I keep fucking not getting things up on YouTube, and then I get them up on YouTube, and I'm finally up to date. I think I might need to put last week's live, but it's otherwise on there. But yeah, no, thank you guys, thank you for kicking that thing's ass as well, because I was like, oh wow, this could be really bad. You're all like it was a good
got
damage
over
fireball, like really good damage, and you know only 2 of you saved. I was like, this could be a DBK, and then you levitated it away and managed to like snipe the shit out of loads of balls. I was just like, there are spells that do this. I forgot because you are an arcane trickster, so it was like 3rd level spellcaster. Can't do too much. Can do some interesting things. Has exchanged Fogcloud, shall we say? And I respect that for the familiar that got nuked, unfortunately.
Yeah.
One of the safe sides of one of the safe things to do with a familiar a lot of the time is just like go to your pocket dimension until I need you for like a non-combat thing. But if you have an owl, you can make use of it in combat. So. You guys made it out of there with a sneaky levitate, and you have a dead body that you apparently want to speak to. So it gives me another week to...
I don't know. I don't want to. I just know I
we
can.
don't. No, we don't.
Sure. You know you can, which makes you want to. Sort of. I know what you mean. But yeah, thank you guys. I mean, there's just a brew. Thank you for the sub. Again, it didn't say how long, but I swear you subbed like last session, last stream, or you're going to sub next time. Yeah, it came out and said Bruce subscribed 8. Yeah, it just said subscribe to 1. Anyway, and Will, I know he won't be here because he just popped in and popped out. But thank you for 25 bits, man. It's always appreciated. And I know you wish Elliot was here, and I know I wish Elliot was here as well. I know we all do. But thank you guys for watching. And anything else from you guys, or just we want to chill for a little bit before we head off to bed? So we're gonna do the
As
classic.
always, we have to say thank you to Ian.
We do have to say thank you.
I am.
Look at him
First time I've been
setting us
first at
up
that.
for that.
I am. Yeah,
There's something else you guys are meant to say.
Genuinely unintended, but I'll take it. I'll take my sort of adorable bastion of feeding myself compliments through you guys. It's great. No, I can do it without you guys. So it's a pleasure as always. It really is. So we'll be back next Tuesday. So 8 days from now, not 1. Again, we will be down. We'll be down a. I was about to say Recon pastry, which is his online name. He also streams a little bit as well. But we'll be down in Elliot, down at Trundle. Well, maybe down at Trundle Bullfrog for the next few weeks. But we'll keep you guys informed as and when he is returning. But until next time, just don't forget to be good people. And I will see you maybe tomorrow, but more likely Wednesday or Thursday. Definitely Thursday, because that is 1 year since I started streaming. So that's going to be God, that's so loud. That scared the shit out of me. Why would you do that, Brew? Thanks for 20 quid, man.
Anti-Flown mango,
you're insane.
Anti-Flown pineapple, Anti-Flown
well, that's gonna
whiskey fund.
That's going to fund my purchase of Resident Evil 2 remake. Although you've just told me to add it to the whiskey fund. You're insane. Brew, you know you don't need to...
Oh, that's mine then.
Yeah, what?
There you go.
Zadie doesn't drink. Get out.
Sean
Brew.
does.
Touche. Well, no, but Brew, dude, thank you so much. I will... I mean, thank you. Seriously. I want to... That's for Sean. Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, you should have donated it to...
Oh my
should have donated
God.
it to her Twitch channel. Fuck. I'll put it towards. I know I'll put it towards, actually. I'll put it towards something for, because we're having a hangout at some point in the next couple of months. So I will put it towards something for that. So thank you, bro. Really.
Real life humans, ew.
I know it's horrible having to like actually meet you guys for the first time in a while. But
Freakishly short people in real life.
yeah, well, we're gonna find out. Apart from weirdly quite good. And
know,
apart from Elliot, who's like 6'2", and it's like, what? Why? But anyway,
Who invented this man?
yeah. Why are you so tall? But we will see you. Brew, I'll see you on Tuesday or Thursday. I'll obviously let you know what's going on, so you can be there. But yeah, 1 year of streaming almost, and I mean, we're 14 sessions of live streaming D&D, which is bonkers, and that's including a couple of other sessions. We're nearly like 20 sessions into Strahd, guys. It's crazy, good crazy, just crazy. But yeah, we're gonna head off. So until next time, peace out. And yeah, like I said,
Bury your dead, everyone. Don't leave them in barrels.
That's the lesson you should take away from this. See ya.
Don't pickle your dead.